Hey guys. So a lot of you are probably wondering, how is Groovy Lisa doing? Um, I'm still coughing, but there's a bright side to it. The coughing is not every second. Thank God. It's not every second. And I do get some relief when I sleep. But I'm seeing my doctor next month for my physical exam. But I figured while we're on here, let's play some games. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. This is the second time I've gone live today. Wow. Hold up. So we're going to play the New York Times games. So the first one I'm going to do is Strands. Most excellent. Okay, most excellent. No. Boss? Since when? Is boss a word? Oh, things that are excellent. Excellent boss. Maybe work. Health. Because, let's see, I would like an excellent health. No. Hard. Dog, no. That's not a word. Land. I. Let's do a hint. How? Hype. Most excellent hype. How is that a word? But let's try again with another word. Hot. Most excellent. Hype is most excellent. No. Uh-huh. Let's try another game then. We obviously are not doing good at that game. Let's do connections. And then Wordle. And other stuff. Okay. King Kong. That's a movie. Let me think. Sounds. Per. Ski. For room. Car sounds. Ding dong. Hoot. Beep beep. Okay. Car sounds. Awesome, we got one. Next one. Maybe types of monkeys. King Kong, Coco, King Kong, George. Bubbles? Oh! 2 for 2! Let's go! Okay. Yahoo!
Why don't you go outside, be outside, huh?
Ding dong. Dodo. Whoop. Okay. Hoot? Oh. Ding dong. What the heck? So it's not Yahoo. It's gotta be Whoop. We lost. Oh my god. Okay. Let's play the next game. Let's play the next game. Wordle. So I go with my normal word. Dream. Reach. We got an R. So let's see. Water. There's an R at the end. An R at the end. So, let's try S. No, there's an R at the end. L. So these are the letters we have left. Let's see if there's an O. Okay, there's a D, F at the beginning. R. F. I. Finer? No, there's no N. No. There's an O. So, let's think. F. H. O. U. R. No. S. O. U. R. No. F. Y. No. B. L. O. It's flower. Well, That was very anticlimactic. I think we'll stop the game for a minute. Hi. I don't think anybody's gonna show up to this impromptu stream. But, if you do, you do. So next month I gotta go to the doctors. And the doctors are probably gonna tell me the same thing they tell me every year. Wow, you weigh the same as you did last year, but you're still overweight. Yeah. And then my doctor one time was telling my mom that she wants to get me on a diet plan. And I was like, okay, doctor. And apparently Kaiser does like a diet class. I mean, I've done it before. I've lost weight, so it's not like any issues. I gotta find that book that I have, because the book I bought a while back with low-fat recipes. Time to bring that book out again. But let me go get some water real quick, guys. I have 2 viewers, and I'm solidly happy with that. I'm happy with 2 viewers. Let me actually send out another invite. Hi 4 viewers. Went to get myself some water in my handy dandy IKEA cup here. I want to invest in a hydro flask because I like the way the hydro flask looks, and I like this kind of top. Okay, sounds great, Dusty. I was like promising people that I was gonna do a stream on Saturday, Friday, and I kind of just was like not feeling up to it. Even though I am coughing, I'm like, fuck it. I'm coughing, you're gonna hear it, okay? You can go and be concerned for me, but this is what I have. Costco lasagna. I'm kind of like savoring the lasagna, to be honest with you. I'm savoring it. The Costco lasagna is pretty damn good. So I like had one piece of Costco lasagna because I am being good. Old me would have ate 2 pieces of Costco lasagna. But, we usually make a big thing of lasagna and then we give some to my sister and she takes home. Hello. I was playing some NYT Times games. I was playing Strands. I was playing Wordle. Connections. Almost won Connections. Let me go put it up while we wait. Hold up. I don't have any online games, so this is what I'm playing. Okay. I'm gonna do... Looks like the crossword is right here. So let's do that. I'm not gonna create an account. Apple. Apple bottom. Apple orchard. Apple tree. Fuck you, long COVID. Fuck you, long COVID. Okay, anyways. You wish. McDonald. I know this one. Audra. Because I love Broadway. Okay. Droop. Droop. Huh. Many film at Sundance. Well, I know that Sundance is where all the good films get played. Plants with leafy fronds. Kale? No, it's not kale. Cactus? I will go back to that one. Apple again. Apple product? iPad? No. Great big dogs. I know there's like several big dogs that I can think of off the top of my head, like a Great Dane. Great big dogs. Obviously, there's a Dane. Oh, shoot. Hound. Hound? It fits, but is it a hound? Let me think about this one. Apple. Oh, you wish. When I think of You Wish, I think of As You Wish. From, what is that movie? Princess Bride. When he's like, you know, tumbling down the hill. As you wish. I think of that. Danes. Oh, that makes sense, actually. Hound does not make sense. Danes, because I was like, Danes are big animals. Thank you, bro. Eight. Plants with leafy fronds. We'll have to go back to that one. Understands. Hosting an open mic informally. I don't know. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Okay. Droop. Sag. Okay, that one we got. Sag. A show. An open mic. 6. Apple pie. Apple cake. Oh. But that's... Oh, ferns. Okay. But wait, guys. For a minute. Let me show you something. Guys, I gotta show you this. Look. Wow. You know with how sick I've been lately? To get this in the mail definitely made my day. And look. Look, guys. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Lisa.
Oh, Coldplay gave me glasses.
Well, how's that going to help you play a record?
I don't know. They just did. And then signed by the band. I don't know why they gave me that, Tim. Jesse will be up in 30 minutes. And then they gave me a book.
Something's going to be 3D in there, obviously. Whether
Yeah.
it's the cover
Yeah.
or the book or the gatefold, I don't know.
The gatefold is... It's just... And then the album is pink. Yeah. So, have you gotten anything recently since we... I don't know, when's the last time we streamed with Dusty? Like 4 days ago?
No.
'Cause I know you hit your thrift stores up more often than I do.
Yeah, but I don't usually go till Tuesday. So, so no. I have not been. Hello, Vinyl Gorilla.
Hello. I didn't see anybody live today, so I was like, I'll go live. I mean, I'm using this until they tell me I can't use it no more. I'm taking advantage of it, the free. Until they take away my account.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to go find a new one. Oh, Oasis. Yeah, Oasis.
Oh.
The tickets out here sold out.
Well, I imagine they're going to be sold out everywhere.
Yep.
They're only doing like a half dozen shows or something, so they're going to be sold out. Well, in America, they're only doing like a half dozen or something.
I think they're doing like maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I know they're doing Chicago. They're doing New Jersey. They're doing California. I forgot where else, but they're not. Let me go look it up, and I can read it.
But they weren't nearly as big in America as they were practically everywhere else.
Exactly.
I said practically because I don't know that they were any bigger in Canada than they were the U.S., but everywhere else.
It's kind of interesting. Yeah, they are doing Canada, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, just one, I think.
Yeah, they're doing Toronto, I believe.
Yeah, which you know, I mean, if I was going to go to a show, it would either be, I'm not, but it would either have been New Jersey or Toronto might even be closer to me, believe it or not, than New Jersey is, even though I live in New York.
You wanna know something funny, Tim? When I looked up U.S. tour, they said 2 events in Monterey Park, and I'm like, Oasis playing in Monterey Park?
There you go.
But it's Pasadena. They're doing 2 dates in Pasadena. That's where I live, near where I live. They're doing 2 dates. They're playing Cardiff. Oh, we already know that. Oh, wait, they're not. They're let's see. We already know they're doing a lot in the UK.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're gonna do a lot.
Okay, they're playing Soldier Field in Chicago. They're playing MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and they're doing another date in New Jersey. They're doing 2 dates in LA. And let's see where else. They're doing 2 dates in Mexico City. And Australia. And United Kingdom again, Wembley Stadium. So not really much in the U.S.
Yeah.
I heard Toronto. I don't know if Dwayne or Dan Goucher, because I know they're out there if they're planning to.
Like I said, that's probably about the closest to me. It's really close between New Jersey and Toronto, but Toronto might actually be closer. I don't know. It's close, but
Hello,
I
Jen.
mean, it's not
Jackie
close. It's
Mason.
a five, probably a 5 hour drive, 5 to 6. But so is New
Yeah,
Jersey, so they're both close.
yeah. I mean, the one close to me is only like 10, not 10, like 15 to 20 minutes for me. But I haven't been to the Rose Bowl in 5 years. I mean, do I have a desire to go and buy Oasis tickets and see them? No. Do I like their music? Yes, to a certain extent, but I know tickets are going to be crazy, so I
I,
don't want to
I
deal
I
with the
think
price.
it's. I thought it was a shame when they split up because
Yeah, me too.
they. I thought their middle albums weren't that great, but I thought they were getting majorly better, and then they split up.
Yeah, yeah. I
And then
mean, interesting opening act choice. KG Elephant. I know who they are, but it's just interesting that that's who they decide to choose.
well, it's not always the band. Sometimes it's the label. That
Well,
gets
the record.
involved.
I mean, not them. The record company, who they
Yeah, yeah,
decided
the
to choose.
label, because you
Yeah.
gotta, if you're big like Oasis, whoever's opening for you is gonna be somebody on their label, so they can
I
promote
mean,
them
I wouldn't
too.
be surprised if Noel and Liam were like, "Oh, fucking bloody! Just let us decide who plays." I mean, I could just imagine them fighting with
And they could have. I mean, but usually it's
the record label.
but if you're big enough, you get to pick. But still, it generally has to be somebody on your label, though.
I
I
mean,
mean,
they have someone on label that picks, and they have a touring manager, the one who
that
decides what places they play.
that's what they. Well, there's a whole team for that,
Yeah.
but the places have to be open. They
Yep.
have to think they can sell enough tickets. They have
Exactly.
to. There's a lot
Yeah.
involved.
I think they will have plenty of tickets for the Hollywood. I mean, for the Rose Bowl, because the Rose Bowl is 90,000. So they're doing
Still,
two
though, I
nights.
mean, they're doing so little shows. I can almost guarantee it'll sell out. I
Oh no,
mean,
they will. They will. Trust me. It's already
mm,
sold out in LA.
yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
It's
I
and
mean,
even if they weren't that big in America, 90,000 isn't that many when you consider, you know, people will drive for hundreds of miles if they have to.
oh, do you want? Yeah. You want us to finish the game? I'm doing a crossword on New York
Oh,
Times. Kind of boring. We'll put it aside for a minute. I'll finish it later because I don't want to bore people with games. I just play it on my spare time. I do the New York Times games on my spare time. But I can guarantee you that even though they are doing very little amounts of shows, I think it's a good idea because then it gets people being like, "Oh yeah, I really should go see Oasis," because they're only doing 7
yeah.
shows in the United
And
States.
unlike most bands, they're a real band, and they won't have pre-recorded stuff going
No,
on.
no,
I
no, no,
mean,
no.
they're gonna be a real band.
Yeah.
They're gonna go out and they don't have monitors in front of them with lyrics and all of that kind of crap that people have.
Hey,
They're gonna
Fred.
go out
Okay.
like an old band and
Yeah.
just play music. And if they don't want to be perfect, which is the
No.
whole point of being live, is you don't want to be exactly. You
No.
don't want to sound like the record. You
No.
want to sound like you.
Yeah, but the game we just played when I was sending the links to everybody. The reason why I had to send the link to you on Facebook because we got this weird guy that comes in
Hmm.
and he will be, "Is it working? Is it working?" And I
Yeah.
don't want him to get the link. So if Mason would just add me on Facebook, then I can send
Uh,
him a link too because I don't really want to send a link out. I'm trying to, get everybody on
yeah.
account that I can send them a link to because most
Hi.
people don't check their
I just said hi,
Instagrams.
Gorilla, but hello again.
I just
Um,
made sure to go through all the comments. Today is gonna be the day we're gonna that's the song I think everybody who's not a big fan knows by them.
well, back back when they were, if you didn't know much Oasis back when they were, 95, let's say 96s,
Yeah,
the song you knew probably was Don't Look Back in Anger,
yeah,
because that got played on not only alternative radio, that got played on top 40 pop radio, that got played everywhere. So that would be the song that most people, I think.
yeah. There's like a really interesting thing. This guy on TikTok that I follow called Patrick Hicks Music Story. He did okay, that's great. He did a thing about Oasis and how Oasis started out and how I think I remember he read somewhere that it said that Oasis were a part of another band and they didn't like the band that they were in, so the brothers decided to
Well,
start their own group.
they don't like anybody.
And then how they got the name was like on a poster. They saw a name on a poster, and that's how they got their name, supposedly. They were like, "Oh, Oasis." Yeah, they don't like anybody. There was like a interview, not an interview. This family was shopping for shoes, and Noel happened to be there, going shopping, and then the little kid asked Noel. The little kid goes, "Why don't you like your brother?" And he goes, "He stole my teddy bear in 1976." And then the dad is like, "This is the best day of my life. I love this band." The kids were like, "Why don't you like Liam?" Telling Noel to get, and Liam was like,
They're fine now.
"They're fine."
They're
And
fine.
they're coming out with a new album next year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I think everybody knows. Why else would they be touring? They don't tour just for the sake of
Well,
touring.
no, you could tour to get, maybe they
I
need
know.
money. Maybe,
But
neither of the tours they do okay, but neither of them does anything like they're going to do when they're together. You
yeah,
know, you know,
but this is Oasis we're talking about. They're not going to tour just for the sake of touring. They got to have some reason to tour.
well, no, yeah, but no, they could have. They could
They
have.
could have.
But there is an album. Liam
Yeah.
himself, there's an album. So there is an album.
I'm excited. I think I will actually.
I don't know. I want to hear it.
I want to hear it first.
Okay.
I think I'll actually buy the
Here-
CD.
here's my thing. Okay, I like the first 3 Oasis albums.
Yeah, they're
including
great.
The one that was all B-sides and everything. Then I like the last couple. The ones in between were just okay. I loved the first Beady Eye album. I didn't
Yeah.
care for the second Beady Eye album all that much. I haven't liked any Noel solo material. I haven't liked
Who
any
is
of the
this?
High Flying Birds material.
Who's Demis Russo? Paulina? Ah, damn it, Paulina! I thought I had a troll. Sorry.
I don't know how a troll would get up here, but
I don't know. I'm slow today.
So anyway, I'm a little worried what the new album's going to sound like. I haven't liked Liam's solo stuff except for the first Beady Eye album. I haven't liked Noel's solo stuff. I'm hoping it sounds like Oasis and not the solo stuff, because that didn't.
Because they
too much fun.
they did like a 40th or 30th anniversary for Definitely Maybe on vinyl, and I was looking at the different pressings, and it's pretty cool. I'm still gonna figure out what those glasses are for the Coldplay album. It's kind of interesting that they gave me glasses, but hey, whatever.
Sure,
I've
to
been-
tell you somewhere.
Probably. I mean, I've been a fan of theirs for 25 years now, so it's like, wow. I've stuck with a band for 25 years.
If
Makes
you
you was
insist,
born.
Dusty,
Yeah.
I have to be mean.
Who is this Dennis guy? Is he a modern artist?
Demis Roussos.
Yeah. Yes,
he
Denise.
was a famous artist out in Greece back in the late 60s, throughout the 70s and 80s. He was part of a band called Aphrodite's Child, and then he went solo, did this album and then many other ones. This is like his most famous one, Forever and Ever. And so he makes like really beautiful music, and
I think
I
I've
was
heard
finally able to
Aphrodite's
get
Child.
this into my collection because I
Nice.
love Forever and Ever.
Nice. You got the look going. You guys are like, all you need is a fake beard, and then you totally could be a
You know, you want to know how I heard about Demis Roussos?
how.
there was a like an EPK thing that Gaultier did for
Hmm.
Mickey Mirrors, and so he was in an op shop, which is like a thrift shop, you know, or those kind of shops that you usually go to.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
and so he found this record in the shop, and he was like, "Oh my god, finally, you know, my collection."
yeah,
So I was like, who is this guy that he's holding this record up? And I was like, okay, I'll check him out. I listened to this song, and I was like, this is a good album. I like it.
yeah.
And that was back in 2011. Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
there's some, there's some artists that I have actually discovered through people in the VC,
hmm
and then I'm like, oh, that's good, and I ended up buying them because sometimes the VC does have some really good. Oh, a lot of times they do. Well, I'm saying sometimes, but yeah. I even buy. I think a lot of us do that. We go to a record store and we see a cover, and we're
hmm
like, wow, this cover is cool, and then we pick up the album. I've done that before. I bought an album just based on the cover because I liked the way the cover looked, and then I brought the album home and I listened to it and I was like, this is a pretty good album.
I only do that if it's dirt cheap these days. I used to do it, but
Not
now
with I
but
don't
I'll
do
do
it.
it with 45s. I'll pick up a 45
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, I like the name of the group. I like the label. Sometimes just the label will do it,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
But I
And
do that
some
for
of my favorite
news.
45s I found that way. Some of my
Yeah.
favorite songs, I'm like, wow, this is Jamie Horton doing a song called
Mhm.
Robot Man. I don't know what that is, but it has to be good. And it
Yeah.
was fantastic.
Yeah, I don't do that for new records. I only do that for use because I can't because new records are just I can't be doing that all the time with new records. Sometimes I will, but mostly it's used and 45s. I'll take a random 45. I'll close my eyes. I'll pick a random 45 and be like, "Okay, you're coming on with me." And I'll play. There's this
Sometimes for
guy that
me,
does that.
sometimes for me, sometimes the way that I discover like music from years ago is that there's like a lot of bands that I really like that do like a lot of dance music, and they tend to sample
Yep.
songs like, you know, from the 70s or 80s and 90s and stuff like that. And I remember one such thing was, and this was like a really good happy accident. My friend Noe, he was my producer on my first album. Um, he he was down. He had like, you know, LimeWire. Everybody remember LimeWire, people?
Yeah, you can
He was
download Clinton on
downloading
there.
songs, and he wanted to download. Yeah, he wanted to download "Just the Way You Are" by Billy Joel,
Mhm.
and but he downloaded um, a file that said "Just the Way You Are," but it wasn't Billy Joel. It was a song by a group from Egypt called no, they're from Italy called Milky, and I love the song because they sampled. Listen to what the man said by Wings. They sampled that do 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 for that song. But what I loved about the song was like this kind of like guitar riff that was going on, and I was like, that sounds nice. And I was like, they must have sampled that from somebody. This is like too good to just be thought up by a dance group. It must have been sampled somewhere. So it took many years and much research to realize that what they did was they sampled a song called "Streets in Your Town" by the Go Betweens,
Ah,
and so once I heard the Go Between song "Streets in Your Town," I was like, wow, this is good music. Why haven't I never heard this? And this goes back to 1988. This is like an 80s album, but I really love it. And apparently, people really praise this band a lot. You know, from what I've read about from other people, people say like, "Oh my God, the Go Betweens were like one of the one of the most greatest bands of the 80s." Like, you know, they put
ah,
them in high regards of other bands that are coming out around that time, like Level 42 and Bangles and stuff like that, Boy Meets Girl and stuff. So I was
yeah,
like, wow. And so that's what I tend to do is like I tend to hear like, okay, what is this song that this band is sampling? And I'll listen to it. I'll like, that's a
yeah,
good song. Okay.
yeah. But we've all at one point have probably done blind buys. We see an album and we're like, oh, let's give this album a try.
hmm
I've done it, but not for new albums, mostly used. Because new albums nowadays, like that Coldplay one I bought, was like 40 something. That's the going price nowadays for new.
That's
But
ridiculous.
I don't buy a lot of new. I don't buy a lot of new albums anymore. It has to be a group that I really, really, really love.
I
For me to
rarely
shout out that.
bought a new album without hearing one song, but I've bought many only hearing one song and not knowing who the hell they were or anything. I remember
Yeah.
I bought it goes back, this dates me, but I bought Jerry Rafferty's City to City because I heard
Love
Baker
that album.
Street. That's all I knew. I didn't know about Steelers Wheel. I didn't know, I only knew one song, and I bought that album, and I'm like, this is fantastic. Baker Street isn't even nearly my favorite song on that album.
That whole album is fantastic.
Well, I think City to City is probably my
That's a
favorite.
good one.
song.
I like his music.
But that's one. And I'm a kid that's getting 50 cents a week allowance, so buying a new album took me like 2 months to save up. So
Yeah. I remember when my
Or
parents
more.
let me buy my first CD. I was like over the moon. I was about maybe 11 or 10. And my parents took me to Target. And they let me buy my first CD. Well, actually, before that, they would buy me cassettes. But I think, when your parents give you your little allowance and you go out there and you're like, ooh, I can go buy myself something. I used to buy a lot of toys too. And games, because I had a Nintendo.
Well,
So my
before
dad would take me to
music,
the game.
I was into slot cars, and all my money went slot cars and building models, and all the little money I got went to slot cars and building models.
Yeah,
And
when
then
I
when
was
I discovered music, slot cars and building models kind of went by the wayside because
yeah.
I would rather buy music.
Yeah, no, I was into games when I was little and music. So my parents would take me to the local video store and they would sell like used Nintendo games. So I would go there and I would buy my Nintendo games and then they would let us check out a movie.
I
And that
feel
was our
fortunate that I grew up in. I'm probably the last generation that grew up before video games hit it big. We had really crappy video games when I was
You had
like,
Atari, right?
but no, not. I was probably 16 or more when Atari came out, but
Ah,
we had Pong, and
I remember Pong.
but I'm glad I didn't. I really am glad that I never went down that road. I really am because I went out and did things instead of sitting in front of a TV with a joystick all day long, and I'm really glad I did that.
Well, my parents just bought me the gaming system because that was the thing. Every kid wanted that. And I didn't ask them for it. My dad just thought I would like it.
Well, yeah. By that time, it was the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
But
because the first Nintendo.
the thing about music that I discovered that was great is every night after school, I can't be building a model while I'm doing my homework.
Yeah.
And I can't be racing AFX cars while I'm doing my homework. But I can be listening to an album while I do my homework. So that's, I think, why music took over. I can do something else while listening to music. So that
Yeah.
was huge.
I remember the countless CDs I owned. Trading them with my friends. Be like, hey, I got this CD. You want to trade it? And then I'd go and record to a cassette so that I could have it to listen to again because that's what I had like this thing with a cassette recorder, a CD, and a record player that my parents had bought me. It was like one of the most expensive things that my parents had gotten me. It was back when, I'm going to say this for Paulina, when Costco sold long boxes. You remember? Oh, Costco had long boxes.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. So that was mainly for theft. They were probably them and Sam's were probably the last people to have long boxes because
Yep.
they did it for theft reasons.
Yeah.
You know, where everybody else by that time had another way to keep people from stealing CDs, but
Yeah.
you know, they just kept getting. They didn't have the manpower and the staff to have people put them all in little long cases. You know, they didn't.
Yeah.
You know, so they kept the long box. And I don't. And they also, if you remember, they would have a lot of exclusives. They would
Yep.
bundle 2 or 3 albums together and put them in a long box and just sell them as a set for a lot less money.
Exactly.
And yeah,
I
so
remember.
they did that too.
I bought
And
I
Sam's
bought
did.
this one. I bought this one at a Sam's Club back in 2003. It's they did a special thing for the Lizzie McGuire movie, and they put both the movie soundtrack and the television show soundtrack together in one long box.
Ah.
That's when I got, and I was like, wow, it's a long box. I haven't seen these for a while, and apparently, and I would like to try to get those as well. They did come with special long boxes for certain Beatles albums, and they looked really cool too. Even though I still prefer the ones that came out in the '80s, Sam's and I think Costco came out with theirs as well.
Yeah.
And I could tell because the catalog number on those were totally different. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I went in and I saw a long box that they had of Simon and Garfunkel when I went to Costco. And at the time, I used to buy a lot of my CDs at Costco. I bought Smashing Pumpkins there. I bought Weezer Melodrop when it came out. And I bought some other CDs. But now Costco just sells books. That's the only
nobody
thing they
sells
sell
media anymore.
No, and they used to sell DVDs there too.
Yeah, so it's Sam's, and they got rid of them, and so
And Walmart got rid of their DVD section in my Walmart. I don't know about yours, but
mine's a small one, but it's not. You know,
no.
they got rid of half their records because they weren't selling. They put a lot of them for $15, and then now they're only stocking 98% of what they're stocking now. I have zero interest in it.
I mean, I think a lot of what Walmart sells is their exclusives, because Target also does the same thing. They sell their exclusive stuff.
Yeah, but their exclusives are becoming things that I have no interest in anymore.
I own maybe
a lot of soundtracks. I would say a third of the records at my Walmart are soundtracks now.
No, my Walmart has actual artists, but now I think of it, wait, maybe my Walmart does have like a little tiny movie section.
Well, mine aren't in any order. My Walmart couldn't be bothered to put the records in any order. They're just stuck out there,
My Walmart leaves out Warp Records. My Walmart leaves out Warp Records. I came to my Walmart.
Anybody. How would they know? I mean, if the cover's warped, it doesn't automatically mean the record inside.
But it's okay. It's okay, Tim. It was Blake Shelton. So I wasn't it was Blake Shelton.
I've seen the morons stock a load of calendars in the album section because they're about the same size.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. Oh, there we go. Those are stocked.
There's like a video I saw of this little girl asking her mom to buy her 2 records, and the mom goes, "How are you gonna play the records?" And the girl goes, "The record player's inside the record." And I'm like, "Oh, it's on." And I was like, "Oh, little girl, no." She bought Olivia Rodrigo and Taylor Swift, by the way.
She'll grow up to be a vinyl person, and that's good. Unless her mother gets her, a cheap phone and just puts them on her phone. Then
I didn't know that, Dan. I'm guessing Walmart in Canada doesn't have the records like we do.
Wow.
Yeah, because
like I said, our section they had and there's still some good stuff at my Walmart for $15. It's been there for like months. I'm like, nobody's buying it. Like things like you'd think would sell for $15. Linda Ronstadt's Greatest Hits, Carole King Tapestry, a 2-record Ray Charles Greatest Hits set. You'd think this stuff would sell for $15. but it just sits there.
No.
And they don't mark it down. They're not, it's what I call Target. Target every 2 weeks or whatever marks things down another 50% or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
you know,
I've owned
Walmart
a
doesn't
couple
do
of
that.
Target. I own a couple, I think, of Target pressings, or maybe 3.
I own a
Yeah.
bunch.
Your
Yeah.
Walmart, Tim, has as Tapestry for $15.
I bought one. Yeah, they had 2. I bought
Dang.
one. I think I bought it. I might not have, but let me look. It'd probably be right here at my feet if I bought it.
Shoot,
Yeah, because I
I'll
remember
definitely will
seeing
jump on that. I need that on my in my collection.
you do.
Because
I
I have a copy, but it's not minty. It's okay,
Yeah.
but that was all I had. So I'm like, for $15, I'll
Ah.
freaking buy it.
you don't have an
looking here.
HMV.
There was one in DC when I lived there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get live bands every once in a while.
Hey, Dusty.
Hey,
What's
Hey.
up, Dusty?
What's up, everybody?
I figured I might as well take
Looking for
advantage of this
some-
while I have it, man.
you know, take it.
Take advantage
I don't
of
know.
it.
I don't know if you should be so pessimistic though. Maybe they will continue with the free plan. They're just not
I
putting
hope.
it down there.
I hope, because I love StreamYard.
Nice.
Ooh, well,
Where's
that's a
there's the price tag to show you.
Oh,
damn.
that
I love
know,
Carol
mm,
King's
but
tapestry.
where I am,
Fantastic.
nobody wants it, you know. So
I remember one time for a vinyl community concert, they were like, show an album with a cat, and I pulled that one out because that's the only album I had.
yeah. I think I have one. Mine's like the cover looks like shit, but the vinyl looks good.
And it's
Clean.
on brown vinyl too, like baby poop brown vinyl.
We sent you a link, Mason.
Mhm.
I don't want to get
Yeah,
that one guy
that
coming up
that
on my
color
show.
vinyl, not the most attractive
Oh, gold?
vinyl in the world.
I have some
Oh,
gold.
okay.
I have some gold
They called it
vinyl.
gold, but they didn't call it poop. Not like the Foreigner one where they called it dirty white boy vinyl. Was that what it was?
Because-
I was like,
Because the
Wow,
Rolling
really?
Stone one, the Rolling Stone one I have is gold. It's kind of a gold kind of I don't know how to explain it. Gold foil. Yeah.
it's groove dust. Get me a microfiber brushing quick.
Yeah. There's
I
actually
thought-
a company called Groove Dust.
The records that they had at FYE were even cheaper than that a couple weeks ago and better.
Mm.
We have an FYE out
And
here.
there probably still a couple there that are decent that nobody's bought. Like Genesis
Yeah.
Trick of the Tail on yellow vinyl. Rhino, get your ears started right. $10. It's still
Whoa. Well, my FYE is probably not gonna have it cheap, but we have an FYE in Montebello, and it's been there for
some
years.
of them are
Mhm.
where this was a month ago now, but when they started, maybe longer, or getting rid of just some vinyl, and
Well, if I had
vinyl
known
that
about
they had a
that,
while and hasn't sold and marked
I
it
would've bought it.
down.
yeah, because that's
Yeah.
originally like $25. That Trick of the Tail.
Yeah, I bought a couple things as cheap as $5.
Sweet. What was it?
Yeah.
Trying to look at something here.
I was like, I think that Canada has the
Mhm.
queen on their face when it comes to their money.
This was 10.
Ooh.
Wow.
Sweet.
You found some good deals. Yeah, because
Yeah.
my stores don't have discounts.
Where were these at?
FYE.
FYE.
I told you
Okay.
guys when I did it. I'm pretty sure I showed you this. The Ray Charles greatest hits, $5.
Yeah, I remember that.
Nice.
And there's more. They're all sitting on the floor.
Yo,
now.
what a bargain! What a bargain!
It is.
Well, these days, yeah, considering what they're charging for vinyl.
Considering everything's a freaking arm and a freaking leg.
I didn't need this, but for $10, I picked
You
it
should
up.
get it.
Yeah, I mean for $10. I used to have an original pressing of that. Of course, I sold it like a jackass.
I've got I've got an original and I've got a Japanese. And Japanese
Really?
has bonus cuts, but
Mhm.
believe it or not, the American sounds better. It's the only Japanese vinyl I have where the American sounds better. But this was $10,
Nice.
Sweet.
and it's on what, yellow vinyl, green vinyl.
Ooh.
I don't think we have. I don't think we do. We don't have FYEs out here, do we?
We have
Lisa?
one in Montebello.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I know
right.
that I used to have one over here, and there was one over here in Santa Ana, but I don't, it's not there anymore. But.
Well, when you come out to
Oh,
LA, go to the one in Montebello because that's the only one we have out here in LA. It's in the Montebello Mall, and you know what? I haven't been there in like 5 years.
Montebello Mall. We used to talk about that mall because all the fine chicks used to hang out there
Yeah, I think
when I was a
That's-
kid. Yeah, when I was a
Yeah.
kid, it'd be like all the hot chicks
I
hanging out.
might have
Montebello Mall.
got something else and used it on a podcast.
You know what's my go-to mall? Is not the Montebello Mall, but my go-to mall as a kid was the Santa Anita Mall. You remember that mall?
No, I don't.
You never been to Arcadia? Well, that
Oh,
was my
yeah, well, not really. No,
that was my go-to mall. I used
Mm-hmm.
to go there all the time, and I still go there.
that's where that was your Fast Times at Ridgemont High Mall.
It's a good mall.
Is
It's a really because my parents lived in Arcadia, so we went there all the time because my
Yeah.
sister loved going to the Hot Topic out there, and they had like
Still
really good
there.
stuff. So, and that mall is doing way better than the mall that we have down here. Then again, the mall down here is no longer a Westfield mall, but I think the one out there in Arcadia is still Westfield, and that place is still like popping and stuff. So I was like, wow, they
Yeah.
they totally survived the pandemic, you know.
But the Puente Hills Mall, no.
Dusty, could you polish off a large me and Ed's pizza even at $40? Depends on how much I've been smoking that day.
Let's look up this pizza
Probably
now.
could. I probably could. You know what? You had me going on a Russ Myers kick today, Tim. I turned around since I was supposed to like do some work for my my ex father-in-law, but he had canceled. So basically, like the whole week is mine. You know, so I was like, so I was sitting at home today, and I was like, kind of like, okay. Well, I started watching Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. And I turned around and sat there. I was like, okay, Russ Meyer from 1970 later.
That's
Film or whatever.
his commercial. That's the only film he ever did for a studio. Well, he did
Really?
two actually. He did another one a couple years later. But he did that one for I think Warner Brothers.
Okay, so it was a major studio.
Yeah, it was a major motion picture. That's on Criterion. That's the only film that's like out of his control basically. He controlled all his films, owned them, blah blah blah. Didn't own that one.
Yeah, because today I went out and got a couple of the well, I didn't buy them. I went to my secret site and I got like that Mudhoney. I got a couple of other ones. So I'm like thinking, okay, I'm going to deep dive a little bit here. And as soon as I threw in Valley of the Dolls, I was like, oh my god, look, it's a Nazi and a guy dressed like a king, and I'm already in for a good time. I could tell. I was like, already in for a good time.
Yeah.
But I had mistaken Beyond the Valley of the Dolls for Valley of the Dolls because I was thinking of the one that was with Sharon Tate.
Yeah,
I was like, no.
that was his sort of take on. And then later, one of his later films, he did Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, which is sort of beyond.
Dude.
He was getting really weird by that point.
Dude.
But, I was going to say Mudhoney and Lorna, the other one that are his two like black and white masterpieces aside from the one we watched last night.
I don't know who you are, dude, but how did you know where I used to work? That's very, okay. Now you know.
Probably because you just told everyone.
No, I never told anybody
If you
on
had
this
not,
show.
you had not reacted to that, you probably wouldn't.
Okay, anyways.
But now everybody knows.
Who cares? Everybody knows. I don't care. I don't work there anymore, but anybody can go. Okay, have you heard Tim, just for you?
Yeah, Alan Factor and The Fiend? No. No.
Yeah. There's a lot of old movies that I've been revisiting.
What I want to figure out a way to do, and believe me, I will figure it out, is to have maybe like small groups of people. Since I can have at least 10 people up at a time, and maybe doing like a movie night where we end up inviting more people, like some of the people in our, peanut gallery to come and watch movies with us. But if they feel like they just want to like, they could always come up and just be avatars, and they can go ahead and just comment, or if they want to just voice only or whatever, they can go ahead and come up and watch movies with us and stuff. But invite them in the room. I wish there was a way that you could actually, in running a stream, through StreamYard on private, the way that she ended up running one on YouTube, where you're able to, people could just go ahead and come up, they could be in the peanut gallery and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so they come and like watch the movie with you or whatever. But
That'd be
you know,
great.
because with Twitch, it's like if you end up playing a movie and there's any kind of boobs or anything in it, I mean, you'll get banned. And
Yeah.
Twitch isn't like YouTube, where it's like they're like, oh, smack on the hand, you know, don't do that again. You know, no, Twitch is like they're cutthroat, they'll cut you off. And then YouTube, of course, you can't show any boobs there. I mean, you know, Lisa's tried to do it before, but you know, it's like so you have to, you know.
Supposedly you can't, but there's more boobs on YouTube now than
Yep.
than there is on some adult sites. I think there's so.
Well,
much.
you have to put it under like some kind of artistic thing or some
Yeah,
kind of a medical thing.
You know, I mean, I've seen there's this. I'm sure it's gone now. There was this one try-on haul video that I stumbled upon.
Mm-hmm.
This Asian girl, and she's literally trying, you know, transparent clothes on, of course, but once she's done trying it on, she's taking her clothes off and then putting the next thing. She's completely, I'm like,
You know what I came across
this
one
I
time?
haven't seen on YouTube, you know.
The cringiest thing I've ever come across on YouTube was it was a channel with breastfeeding.
Well, there's
And-
tons of those.
And you know, and I think the reason why we came upon it was because my kid's mother was having some female problems, and she was looking at a certain female examination. So what happened was, since she put that, it put it in my history algorithm, whatever, and it's, you know how it starts suggesting other things that you might be interested in. So that was one of the things that popped up, you know. So of course, me, you know, because I'm a pig like that, I'm curious. You know, I would turn around and I clicked on it and see what it was. But yeah, it was really bad. It was like it was breastfeeding, but it was way sexualized. I don't understand how that channel was able to stay there.
Well, there's
Yeah.
tons of them. There's
Yeah.
tons of them, and they all seem to be Russ Meyer kind of women, if you know what I mean. You know, it's like, I don't get it. Now they're doing it with dolls. They used to do it with real babies. Now they've discovered you can do it with dolls, and you don't have to actually be doing it. You don't have to be anything.
Yeah, those people with the reborn dolls.
And now I get to do that. Now, what I don't understand is why they want to. I mean,
Yeah,
it's money, but there's other ways to make money without.
Yeah.
There's this guy I watch. His name is Leon Lush, and he did a video once how he was saying that they're doing videos where women are really scantily clad cleaning their house, but they're showing
body
stuff.
paint. That's a new thing. There's body paint. They're completely naked
Really?
paint in the house. Bending way over. And it's like, hello.
Bending way over to get records.
Very little body paint sometimes. I stumbled across the channel. When I stumble across it, so I'll spend like 15 minutes stumbling through these. I saw a channel that had around 30,000 subs, maybe more. This girl just did house cleaning in body paint. She had 2 minute and 10-second videos up. That was her entire channel, and she's already got over 30,000 subs.
Yeah, I mean, because you have chicks like I said, you have chicks like Groovy Lisa going over there, bending over, looking for records, you know, showing it there.
That was during the pandemic. Okay.
Oh yeah, well, you know, COVID makes you do crazy things.
Supposedly, I was doing that. There is no proof.
So we admit to this then.
Well, because it was on Cap Stream. Oh, okay. Well,
Hey, what's up, AZ Mick?
It was on Cap Stream. I'm not gonna lie about so. Hey, look. If it's something that actually happened in passing, I'm too honest. I'm not gonna lie about it. It actually happened.
Yeah, Lisa was like reaching Devil's Direction Records.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't records. It was K-pop albums.
Should just stuck with records. It would have sounded better.
Yeah.
There you go. I remember seeing a sex ed video on public access TV in the mid '80s. My parents were watching along with me, and suddenly the most glaring 69s. Wow. Okay. There you
Wow.
Oh, there's so many. I have this 2 DVD collection of like ephemera films, like films that you watched in school back in the 50s and 60s, because I like that kind of stuff. and there's one. I couldn't believe they got the woman to do this, but it's a movie not made for kids. It's made for the police department, and it's what do you do if you come upon a woman having birth? So what do? They drive out to the middle of nowhere in a station wagon. They put this pregnant woman in the back of the station wagon, and she actually gives birth in the station wagon. There's the camera watching it, watching the cop twisting the head out and everything. And I'm just like, this is how much did they pay this woman to have her baby in the middle of nowhere in the back of his? And then at the end they tell you it wasn't really a cop, it was a doctor. So what?
That makes no sense. Oh my god! That reminds me of like I was watching this thing. It was John Waters like stand up kind of like TED Talk thing he does or whatever. It's like a one man show, and he's talking about how there used to be this film during the late 50s, early 60s called Mom and Dad.
Yeah, and that's the film from the late 30s is when it originally.
Oh, late 30s. Okay, so it's even older.
It was still playing in the drive-ins in the 70s and maybe even in the 80s.
Yeah, well, he says that they used to. You would have these guys who would go ahead and they would get copies of it, reels of it, and they would go from town to town and they would show it, and they would do this thing like, okay, well, women in the afternoon and the men in the evening or whatever. They would show like showings of it.
And sometimes later in the 70s, they would have mixed audiences, and they would sell these little pamphlets for $1 a piece, one for the men and one for the women, and they would have a quote-unquote certified doctor giving a speech about how there's things you need to know in here and blah blah blah. And this is what this is what road shows were. This is the definition of a road show.
That's what he was saying. Yeah,
is this and David F. Friedman used to do this himself all the time. He would take Mom and Dad was one of the films he would take out, but there was other ones too. And he would go out. I think
he may be the person they mentioned.
But he there's a great commentary. He's talking to the late Jim Varney, who started something weird. And they're doing a commentary on some film, and they start talking about this stuff. And he's like, he hated it when porn came in. You'd think that these guys would have loved when they changed the rating system, but they hated it because that left room for porn. And what the porn guys would do is they'd go to a town with the road shows and they'd leave nothing. They would take every nickel they could. So then when the exploitation guys tried to come in, they're like, no, we know what you guys do, right? They gave everybody a bad rap and they couldn't play their films anymore. And they're like, us exploitation guys, me and I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. There's quite a few that are pretty famous. But their policy was take a little, leave a little. Okay, so you go in, you charge $1 or $2 for the movie, whatever. You sell a couple of pamphlets, and you move on. You don't try to grab every nickel out of everybody's pocket in the place. You take a little, leave a little, and you're invited back. And he's like, the porn people didn't do that. And it's why I like exploitation film, because you get Harry Novak is one of them, one of the guys I'm trying to think of, and they do commentaries on some of the Something Weird videos, and it's fascinating stuff, because they actually lived the life, they actually did this,
Tim has a subscription to Pornhub.
You seem to know a lot about. You don't have to pay for porn.
No, I don't know a lot about. I like exploitation films. That's not porn.
Here's another question for you.
It's Russ Meyer films. I like those.
Hey Tim, did you get my package?
Oh, I didn't know you were in the audience, Trish. Yes, I did.
He's always in my audience.
Sweet.
Nice.
I did.
Trish does some good ones.
And I showed him on Doc's the other day.
Wow, Trim is.
I got a nice note and an invite, which I haven't done anything with. I got a whole bunch of stickers. So
nice.
Yes, I got it on Saturday, I think it was. So thank you, Trish. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, Trish.
I was listening to the first one tonight a little while ago, actually.
Dan said, "Don't be hard on porn. They do work. They do work hard."
They do.
Well, I was like. like I said, I was reading about some. We were talking about some kind of technology. I think it was one of those technological channels, kind of like V Westlife, but it was like another. It's a different. And he's called Technical Technology Connection or some shit like that.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, and he. And I guess he's
friends with the Aging Wheels channel, which is if you like cars at all, check out Aging Wheels. This guy's great. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that what he was saying that the success, basically, he said the same thing I had heard before. He said the success of any technology is how well it could be adapted to pornography. So he was saying, yeah. So he says, yeah. He was saying, unfortunately, that proves that whether or not a technology is going to be successful, like VHS and Betamax, and
that's why the internet's off, and I'm not even joking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I remember like my. This is going to sound so bad, but hey, it was the 80s. Come on, everybody has one of these stories. My uncle, when he was one of the first people in our family to adopt the VHS with the 2 VCRs, and he would like make all kinds of tapes. He had a whole library of tapes. He would make movies and stuff like that, copies. But he had a whole lot of freaking porn. And I didn't know that. My cousin Ernie knew about it. So what my cousin Ernie did was I remember one Christmas, Beanchy Ernie, my cousin Beanchy Ernie. So he turns around, he goes for Christmas. He comes to the room, and he's like, and he has something under his shirt. I'm all, what? He's all, I'm going to give it to you. He's all, take it home, put it in your backpack, take it home. And he's all, don't watch it with your mom. Don't watch it around your mom. Don't watch it. I was like, well, what? He's all, it's one of my dad's special tapes. And I was like, okay. And I took it home. I forgot how old I was. Putting the VCR after my mom went to bed and stuff. And I was like, it was like this cheesy, like 80s porno of them on a cruise ship. You know, and there must have been like 3 sex scenes in the whole 90-minute movie. You know, but
that's the other thing. You know, as bad as the exploitation guys thought porn was then, they at least made movies. You know, they actually made 90-minute movies that you watched. It wasn't a 10-minute clip and you're done.
And they had like storylines. You know, you'd have to fast forward and to get to them.
I mean, I remember when I used to go to the video store as a kid. Because we had this local video store, and I told my dad, what's behind the black curtain? My dad goes, you don't want to go there. And I was like, I'm curious. And my dad goes, oh, it's highbrow entertainment.
Highbrow? I thought it was lowbrow, wouldn't it be?
No, he was just trying to get me. He's like, it's a little too mature for you. And I was like, oh, okay.
He's all, you'll know someday.
Yeah, and then I later on found out when I was older that that's where they hide all the
And Lisa's father still says, you'll know someday.
No. I mean, I kind of did one time peek. Peek because I was curious. And yeah, I saw the stash of porn back there.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Let me guess. Did you make the same sound that you did when that guy on Dolan's thing?
Oh,
did you go like
Oh, that sound is never gonna go away. That sound's always gonna be there with me forever because
it was the funniest sound ever. I've never heard anything like it.
You know, when I'm not trying to be funny, that is when I'm the fucking funniest.
Davey Strange Name used the snippet in one of his videos recently. Yeah, I forgot which video it was, but I think it's the one where it was a really long form video he did. But there's this part where they go into hell. When they're in hell, you just hear Lisa's voice going, ah, that's freaking
No, this is how I reacted. Ah! Yeah.
No, it was a little bit better than that. It was just really like, it was like shocked and in pain and everything weird at the same time. It's hard to explain what it was. It was like,
with a screaming voice of SpongeBob.
I was like,
that's how it sounded.
I was like, ah!
Yeah, it was like, it was weird. It was a weird freaking scream. It was pretty, it was different.
I mean, I was born weird, so not surprised.
Dad said, my friend showed me his dad's magazine stash hidden in his parents' bedroom. These weren't Playboy books. Oh, those were the hardcore ones.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, I'm going to the doctor's next month to get an allergy test.
Part-time in a TV repair shop for a while. Was my record store boss's brother-in-law.
Ooh.
and I didn't have to do anything but sit there. But he had no heat in the place. So in the wintertime, it was cold. We're talking Buffalo, New York. It was freaking cold, and I'd sit there. And if anybody brought a TV in, I wrote it up. I took it. They left the deposit. I gave him a slip, and I put the TV in the back, and that's basically it. Because he had a real job, but he also had this TV place, and he'd fix TVs at night. After work, he'd come in and fix TVs but the TVs. But one of the other things he would do for people, mostly special customers, is he would dub videotapes. And some of these videotapes were pretty freaking rough. That was my other job. That was another job. He'd be like, okay, here's a stack of videotapes. I need you to make copies of all of these today. And okay, and oh my God.
Remember that scene in Reality Bites where Winona Ryder's looking for a job and then she goes to a job interview and it's Andy Dick? Yep. And so what does this require? Well, this job's going to require you to make tons and tons of copies of videotapes for me. So tons and tons. What, like, is this piracy? Do I look like a pirate to you? Yeah.
I mean, I did do some legit ones. There were people's vacation videos and stuff like that. The one I copied the most for the most people, I don't know if you guys remember. Do you guys remember the Rio video? That was like a 20-minute version with like nudity and stuff in it. I made tons of copies of that.
I remember the Girls on Film that was like a...
Maybe it was Girls on Film. I can't remember what.
Yeah, I think it was Girls on Film. I don't think Rio had one that was... I don't know. I
got a legitimate copy of that, but some of the quote unquote adult stuff involved like donkeys and horses, and I'm like, whoa.
Well, I mean, just like that.
I'll just turn the TV off, and in a little while I'll turn it back on and check on it. I'm like, I'm not interested in watching.
It's funny. You should mention that because we were talking about that the other night. We were talking about that movie, The Death of Dick Long. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember that, Pauline? Was I just talking about it with Lisa? I don't know. Possibly. But it's this movie that was like, I forgot. It has like these two famous actors in it too. I forgot, but basically the whole movie, the whole premise is supposed to be like they're one of their friends dies in their friend group, and like they go through the whole film and they don't tell you what's going on. You can tell that like as the film progresses that something weird is going on. They know something, and then it turns out that they like had this ring of people that were horse lovers, and the guy was with a horse and the horse killed him. You know what I mean? Type.
Well, I mean, I was thinking that some of these women could. One woman, I can't remember what even animal it was. Maybe it was a pig. I can't remember. But trying to be finished before it was, and it did not go well. And I'm like, somebody actually wants a. I was just like, I was appalled. I was like, A, that somebody would do this. I don't care how much they're paying her, and B, that she would decide that she's done and the animal wasn't. And I was like, she didn't die.
This is not porn. This is not porn.
She didn't die, but I'm like,
yes,
I didn't. I got pneumonia. It rained. It was like 32 degrees and rained 3 days in a row, and I didn't have a car at that point, and it was probably an hour or more walk to work and home. And I walked 3 days in a row to work and back and work and back and work and back. And at the end of the third day, I literally had pneumonia. I came home this is just for Christmas. Whoa. I came home for Christmas. My mom took me to the doctor when my temperature was like 106. She's like, okay.
God damn.
And the doctor's like, he'll be fine. Blah, 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 blah. And I never went back. That was my last day of working.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Eddie and Nick, I know that they're really well versed in their in equipment and stuff like that, but I would consider them stuck up audiophile stuff. Most definitely
not. This is family videos, okay?
Yeah, I don't do audiophile stuff myself, Dan. Really don't. So it's like really don't. But
no, you can have good equipment without being an audiophile. I mean, that's
I need to ask a legit question.
What?
How do I transfer like these family videos on a DVD? Because we have all these family videos from '89.
Family videos. Okay, yeah. Family
No, look,
I don't
it
know.
says 89 to 82.
Well, yeah.
There are programs out there that you can do, but these days there's pieces of equipment that aren't very expensive. They're just video converters, and you can literally just plug it into your computer and put it into your computer. And once it's in your computer, you can do whatever.
Because I would love to,
Mhm.
because these are videos of me and my sister and my brother
You know,
when we were really young. And
I have an old
convert 'em.
one from like the early 2000s, probably.
Oh my God, Mason! I sent
you.
you a link through your email.
Yeah,
through your
Mason,
Facebook.
I sent you one through Messenger. The
Yeah,
link
because-
is in your Messenger, Mason.
No, because I don't want that guy that comes up that says, "Is it working? Is it?" No, I'm trying to avoid him.
Yeah, Mason, I sent you the link through Messenger.
That's
It's
why
for
I
me.
message everybody on Facebook. Anybody who wants to come up, if you got.
But
an
Mason said,
Instagram
drop me a
or
link and I'll tell you the easiest way to. So obviously, Mason has transferred all of his old porn on videotape too.
I mean, there's
Mason
ways
is too
these
young
days.
to be in a porno.
Recording off of television is easy
Mhm.
these days, and it's the same thing. You know, as long as you have a VCR, it's the same thing.
Wait, let me message you on Instagram, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, send it to him on Instagram because I sent it to him through Messenger.
Okay, hold up. I think you're on Instagram. I don't even really use Instagram. Why do I even have Instagram?
Go
Let me
send
look
it to
you
him.
up.
Send it through Instagram.
Let me look him up. I don't know where he is on my Instagram.
I just sent it to you, Mason.
Oh, good.
Okay, there you
Hopefully-
go.
I'll send it on Instagram too because I don't know if you'll.
You got it.
Oh, he did.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
So I was going to ask you one more question actually about that videotape, Lisa. If that is not porn, why does it have all those stains on it?
They're coffee stains.
Oh, okay. Coffee stains.
Look, we've had that. This thing here is
Mhm.
35 years old.
Really? Remember the 40-year-old virgin was like, "No, I don't want your box of porn."
Yeah.
It's like, dude, he has a box of like videotapes of porn. It's like the 40-year-old virgin was like in 2000 something. It's like, who still had boxes of like VHS porn?
Well,
Lisa.
people who don't, Tim. Cause
I don't
Tim,
think Tim, and I think Lisa would.
First off, why would I have boxes of porn when you can find it for free online?
Mason, for some reason, it's still not working. I think Mason just wants you to go ahead and put the link out here publicly.
no,
so
no,
it
let
is.
me send it to you.
That's what it sounds like. Because you're going to tell me he can't read his Instagram or his Messenger.
Well,
But he's
Come on
gonna-
now.
I'll send it to Instagram.
Jason can't work a link, but he's going to tell you how to put a VHS
Yeah, there
on
you
a-
go.
on a
Why does it tell me
DVD. I
no?
don't-
Oh, fudge. Fine, I'll just send it. If that guy comes up, we'll deal with it.
Okay, well,
Is it
let's go.
working?
This isn't. It isn't working. It isn't working.
Okay.
His name is
here we go.
Should work, Mason.
Chocolate.
It should work.
Okay. Well, if it's not working, I sent the link.
Nick said, "Let's start a VHS porn club." That would be interesting. We can start to go ahead and find the ones that have like the most horrible freaking storylines. That would be.
I
Interesting.
want. You know what? You guys find. Oh, there we go. Now it's working.
Yeah. So when I pulled up Messenger and looked at Dusty and Paulina, it just said something weird. It said, let me read what it said. My Messenger's not working for some reason. It said, message sent before this device was added to this conversation. This message cannot be delivered.
That's weird.
Well, we got you in the stream, one way or another. If
Now,
is it working?
The way that because I did this back when I was maybe still a teenager, I don't know, but I
Yeah.
found all of my parents' video cassettes
video cassettes.
from when we were growing up that they
Mhm.
taped us on the camcorder with. I mean, there were several of our birthdays videotaped on
Yeah.
there and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I found them. And then I started, I'm like, how would it be cool if I could put these on a DVD? Because at that time I was already smart enough to know that, VHS is just going to deteriorate over time.
Mhm.
So I started thinking, I'm like, even then, it was just so common for me to be like, wait, I have a dual DVD and VCR recorder.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I RCA the camcorder and then put a blank disc in? Worked
Uh,
like a charm. That's all I had to do.
yeah,
Well, most people don't have a DVD recorder.
I
mean,
don't.
most VCR,
Well,
DVD
if you own one of those, that's the
most
easiest way that I
VHS
can think of to
recorders,
do it,
not
Lisa. If you
DVD.
own a VCR DVD recorder.
Well, I gotta figure it out because these things are videos of my brother when he was a baby because he's born in
Mhm.
'89. Yeah, and
So
I would like
basically,
to rewatch them.
basically my method, what it does is I just sit there and watch
And
these home movies on my TV while it's recording it over to a DVD.
and there's a
Mhm.
video on here of me arguing with my dad about New Kids on the Block at 8 years old.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
is this the brother that likes Trump?
Yep, the
Oh,
Trump.
you don't need that. You don't need that video then.
I don't
You
need.
don't need to make
Yeah,
any more.
I don't need him. I don't need him.
Mhm.
He hasn't talked to my dad in over a year and a half.
Well, and it wasn't just that. I later on I ended up finding not a camcorder cassette copy, but like an actual VHS tape copy, like VCR R,
Mm-hmm.
copy of my parents' wedding and reception video.
Ooh.
Mm.
And they were married in '97, so of course everything was put on. If anything was taped at that time, it was put onto a VHS.
Yeah, VHS
That
for
was the
VHS-C.
technology of the
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
I ended up taking that, popping it into that same VCR and
Mhm.
watching it. And as I was doing so, it was recording it over to a blank DVD.
Mm.
Well, I'll have to think about it. But there's a guy that
And you know what I did with
watch
that? I ended
does
up
that.
I ended up giving that DVD copy to my parents for their 20th anniversary that
Aw,
year.
that's nice. I don't know if you guys watch this guy, but there's this guy called Weird Paul, and
Mhm.
he records on a 1995 camcorder all his videos.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that did the peanut
But
butter
yeah,
song.
legitimately, I wasn't trying to demand you to post the link in the public chat. I kept looking on Messenger and it
No,
would deliver.
no. I don't think that guy. If he comes
Yeah,
up
no,
here, I'll
yeah,
just
no
block
problem.
him.
I mean, yeah, that obviously makes sense what you're saying. That's
But
Sure,
I've
no
actually
problem.
been I've actually been battling a cold, guys. So I
Welcome
was
to my
debating whether I
world.
was going to come on
Mhm.
tonight.
I got a cold too, so
But
that's okay.
once you started asking about the VHS stuff, I was like, I'm going to share my knowledge of how I did it.
I also got my sister Angela on here, so it's not just a homophobic brother, but my sister's on here too, so I can watch that. And then my mom and dad.
I just recently got lucky that the kid's mother, her father, he's one of those that like he'll buy certain things for the house and then he won't use them. He's just not into it.
Yeah.
And I guess he had this Sony VHS DVD player combo. It's all stereo. He had that, and I guess it was sitting there for I don't know how long. He's like, and I guess because he's buying a new TV. So he was unhooking stuff and deciding what he didn't want. And he was like, he turned around and, he told the kid's mom, he's like, do you want this? Do you want to take it? Ask Rick if he wants it. And called me and I was like, yeah, I want it. It's got a VHS player in it there. Especially that he's probably only used it like 2 or 3 times. So the thing's practically new. He sends it over, puts it back in the box. He saved the box in the garage. He's got the instructions, got the original warranty, got all that stuff with it. I was like, yeah, I want it. Anyone here have Laserdisc or a player? I am thinking that I want to find one.
Timmy has one.
But I think the prices on Laserdisc are starting to slightly creep up.
They've been, not slightly, they've been. The days of, 5 or more years ago, you get Laserdisc online for $3 or $4.
Yeah.
Those days are long gone. Yeah, I've got a Laserdisc player. I love Laserdisc.
Yeah, because not too long ago, I was looking for that, because I used to have it, was the Laserdisc, the definitive edition of the Star Wars trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
It was the box set that came with a book, which was really kind of stupid. It came with a book, and each movie was like on 3 discs, or some shit like that. But
was that still before the 1997 trilogy where George Lucas first started changing things.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
the
yeah, this
best
was like
you
93.
So
can
that
put
has
out
so
a
that
movie.
actually has the original
That's
cut.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm. It
that's
was 93 or 94.
without it being messed with. Yeah, that
Mhm.
thing's always been a little bit pricey in Laserdisc, but
Well,
it's
then again,
gone.
I also but there is a catch to it. But my buddy actually hooked me up with
Mhm.
the original trilogy on DVD from like I want to say either 2004 or six, because on disc 2
Mhm.
of each one of them they include the original cut as like a bonus feature or something like that for each of the original trilogy. But there's a
Yeah.
catch.
It's not anamorphic widescreen. I have that set.
No, it's
Mhm.
not even that. It's not anamorphic widescreen. It's literally friggin' OtterBox.
Mhm.
Well, Letterbox, whatever it is. Letterbox, I
Mhm.
think. I don't know why I said OtterBox, but it's like the tiny little square image.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
because
non-anamorphic. It's
TVs weren't a thing yet.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
So
why
yeah,
would you make a
technically, I do have
all
a way to watch
widescreens
them as
like
they
that?
originally premiered in theaters from
Mhm.
But
1977
there was
to
no way to watch it at
1983.
home like that, so they didn't make them like that.
Yeah, they didn't worry about it. CRT
Wasn't a
TVs
thing
and
yet. So then why would you make a widescreen movie if you couldn't? It's just the way it was. I've got a few hundred discs. I don't know how many.
But
300
anyways,
maybe.
guys, I'm gonna go back to the chat now. I don't really feel
Okay.
like talking tonight. It hurts
That's
to
Okay.
okay.
talk. Kind of
That's
hurts to
okay.
talk.
Right.
It's okay. I mute
All right.
myself when I cough.
Feel better, Mason.
not a
Mason.
problem. Talk
Thank
to you
you.
later, Mason.
Talk to you later.
Speaking of Star Wars trilogy, have you guys heard of the new restorations that they've done? They did one that's called 4K 77 and one that's called 4K 83. So they've redone. So far, I think they've redone Star Wars the original, and they've redone Return of the Jedi, and I think they're about to do Empire. I don't know why they didn't just do them in sequence, but
Yeah.
they're doing them in 4K. Basically, it's the Harmy editions, which were the ones where they went ahead and they reconstructed the original theatrical cuts, but they're upgrading them into 4K, and they look freaking stunning. I mean, I thought the despecialized editions that were done by Harmy were freaking awesome because I have those. But these look freaking amazing. They have like things on YouTube about it, where the guy's talking about how painstakingly they went through it. And I'm like going, and these are fans. I'm like going, fuck.
That's the problem with even if you get the deluxe box set of Laserdisc of Star Wars, it's still in a 4:3 ratio as far as it's a widescreen, but you got to blow it up, and then you lose definition.
You
obviously,
zoom it.
you
Yeah.
blow it up, but it's still the best. Was anyway the best you could see it. Same thing with like lots of movies, like all people that might not know, but when you bought a Let It Be bootleg on DVD or Blu-ray, the source was a Laserdisc, probably a Japanese Laserdisc. That would be the source of the film.
Yeah, cause I have like one of those bootleg DVD.
Yeah,
And yeah, when you first play it, it basically is the home screen of the Laserdisc.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
yeah, but that's where a lot of bootleg DVDs came from, was Laserdisc, because Laserdisc was as good as you could get till DVD.
I'm wondering if remember that old. I mean, now of course there's the upgraded Let It Be, but remember the one that I had shown you guys a little bit tidbit of
Yeah.
before. I wonder if that was pulled from Laserdisc, because I remember Tim said that's the clearest I've ever seen it. I remember I showed it to you, Tim, and that was before, of course, Disney's restoration and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
you're like, that's the clearest I've ever seen it. So maybe that was pulled from Laserdisc, maybe.
probably a Japanese Laserdisc, and there's to record it, you can run it through, like I do it with my Laserdisc player. I run it through a Panasonic DVD recorder, and from that HDMI to my TV, and that upgrades the picture a little bit and makes it look a little nicer than it would have if you didn't. So they've probably done that. And maybe they've even got more software even back then that they could upgrade it a little more. I don't know, but
I bought like a bunch of these little tongles that I've been using for HDMI for component to HDMI, and I mean,
Yeah.
they've upgraded pretty good. I mean, it upscales pretty good.
That's what I'm telling Lisa. That's all she really needs. Find a
Mhm.
free program online
Okay.
Mhm.
to record on your computer, and
Mhm.
just get a little dongle that goes from
Mhm.
RCA to.
Well, I
And
have
there
to
you
first
go.
find a.
Mhm.
But you need three. You need one for sound too. So you need a 3-prong, one yellow,
need to
red,
find-
and
Mhm.
black or white, whichever it is. It could be either
Yeah.
one. And
Hold on, just a moment. I'll be right back.
plug it into your computer and get a program, and now you
Oh.
can tape on your computer. And once you got on your computer, you can do anything you want with it.
Yeah, I need to find a VHS player.
Well, yeah, if you don't have a VHS player, that's a problem.
Yep, I need to find one. I
What?
could probably find one on
Any
Thrift
thrift
store.
store should have one. Just go to
Yeah.
thrift stores.
Yep.
They shouldn't be expensive. If they are, don't buy it.
Yeah.
You should still be able to pick up a VHS player. I don't even in California for $10.
Mhm. Yep, it's hot.
Yeah, I
here.
bought a few of these. Oh, it's gonna shine bright on my face. Ugh. But they're called these. Oh, that's gonna like mini AV to HDMI. I bought like a bunch of these for like $5 or $6 a piece, I
Oh.
think. So let me show you what it is. Basically, well, it comes with that for the power cord, USB, USB, whatever, and then that's it. It's just basically,
Yeah,
3,
that's what
2,
you need.
HDMI.
That's
all it basically is,
that's what you need, and then plug
Uh-huh.
that into your computer. And if your
Mhm.
Lisa's got a new computer, so I'm sure it has HDMI. But if it didn't, you have a new computer. They make them with other connectors too. It doesn't
I'll
have
have to
be.
look in the back. I got the computer in 2023
Like here on the side, it says you have a switch that says
If you got it in
720,
or
81080.
2022. No, actually, no, I got it in 2022. It's
Mhm.
It's still anything after 2020 should have an HDMI.
because my old computer I had for 11, 12 years. I know. I that computer, my old computer I got in 2011.
I mean, my computer I'm using now, not the laptop, but doesn't have an HDMI in. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
this computer, I mean, I've gone as far as I can with it. I added all kinds of memory to it and stuff, but yeah, I'm thinking that this January definitely is going to be, I'm going to build a new one. I'm going to build a streamer, so
Yeah.
I want to put a major, video card in it. I want to be able to support up to 3 screens, and be able to go ahead and have monster amounts of like memory and stuff,
Yeah.
It
Totally.
says my HP laptop from 2019. Yeah, this one that I'm,
barely new. I would say anything maybe after 2015 or 16 should
Yeah.
probably have an HDMI in it.
Yeah.
Dan said I got a Glenn Campbell CD today at VV. Greatest Hits HD CD version on Capitol. Sounds great. High definition CD.
Oh. That's cool.
I'm going to answer your question, Dan. I'm going to answer your question. It's hot, hot, hot here in LA.
Yeah, it does not feel like fall. Right now I have my
No.
air conditioner running. It does not
It
feel
only
like
made
fall.
it into the low 60s where I am today. Rained
I mean-
last night and it was cloudy all day. I was going to finish mowing my lawn today, but it rained yesterday. It takes a couple days for it to dry out. So
Oh.
HD CD, that's nothing like MQA like CD, is it? Maybe, or something close to it. I know the MQA was supposed to be like this certain type of high quality, high res. Like you had to have like certain like
yeah,
only
you
certain
need-
receivers had it.
An HD CD means that
Mhm.
if you've got like surround sound and nice stuff
Mhm.
hooked up to your DVD player, you'll get really good sound on that. But you
Mhm.
can also stick in a regular CD player and it will
And play it back.
will sound
Yeah.
it'll sound probably even a little better than a normal CD. But you don't get the full effects of
Yeah,
the
'cause, like, a lot of-
when you play it in a DVD.
A lot of the CDs that were coming out like during the late '90s were all
Mhm.
were all coming out with HD CD. Like, for instance, Time Capsule by B-52s, or the
Okay.
later issues of those two first of the Beach Boys. They're all HTC.
Yeah, it was a better.
And
That came
a lot of other
after.
titles are coming out. CD like on
It came after the one you're talking about, Dusty, because it's a better format because you can play it in anything.
Yeah, I was watching. I think Techmoan had did a couple of years ago. He did a video on it on MQA audio, and he was talking about how expensive it was to buy any receiver that had it pre-installed as a decoder. That you were talking like $1,000. Well, now I was like looking. You can go on Amazon. You can buy those little Fozzy audio, those little amplifiers that are tube like amplifiers, and a lot of them have MQA decoding now built into it. And you can get one for like $150, $200. So I was like kind of like curious because he was saying the MQA. He jumped through all these different hoops and did all this different stuff with like headphone amplifiers, all this different stuff to actually get the MQA to work. And he was like showing how some of the CDs that were MQA were actually not even mastered right. So you'd play them and the MQA would drop out. So you'd be listening to it. And the thing about MQA is you can play them on regular CD players. So like drop into regular CD mode, then you go MQA. And he was saying there's a little bit of a difference in the sound of MQA. He's like, but there wasn't too much. There wasn't too much.
Well, that's like those albums. Was it Warner Brothers that was doing them? I think it was the Super Disc, which was their MoFi kind of thing. But you were supposed to play those with a Super Disc system, and they were EQ'd with like an upside down smiley face EQ. They sounded like crap if you didn't have the decoding system you needed for them. And there was a Fleetwood Mac a few years ago for like one of those for $15 or $20, which isn't a bad price for one, but I just thought it's gonna sound like crap. So I have to sit there, like nah.
the one format that I really used to love the sound of was a SACD. I love the sound of it. It just always sounded so open, like it had such an open sound space, but our sound stage. I remember the only reason why I had SACD is because I had bought a Sony DVD player around 2002, 2003, and it was built in. But they said that if you actually went out and tried to buy an SACD player, you were talking like a couple of grand.
Oh yeah, no.
But it was built into it, so now what I do is I have a lot of SACDs, but I don't have an SACD player because I have a lot of SACDs that I have left over. So I keep my eyes peeled for a early 2000s Sony DVD player when I'm out in the wild. I'm kind of like seeing if it has an SACD, and I'll be like, "Is that an SACD? Oh no, cut." Just have back to the drawing board, because I want to go ahead and plug one into this system to see how it sounds. But a lot of people end up telling me, they're like, "Oh no, well you have that Cambridge Audio CD player and you use a nice DAC. It's not going to sound any better than that. You've already got the best set for listening CD that you could have already." Of course I could end up having tubes and everything like that, but they're like, "No, what you have is good enough." They say SACD is not going to be worth the hassle, stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Mason, the BB. Oh, we're back into like the boys.
Yeah, the as I used to call them, because me and Mason would go back. I called them the bitch boys.
Well, Dan, do you want to buy some of my MoFi Mike Love albums? Just kidding. I have one. I think if you're interested, really, do you? I might be. Depends on what the price is. I'm pretty sure Mason's not going to sell it to me for them Goodwill price or those Salvation Army prices, though.
Dan, when it's October the 31st here in LA, it still can be hot. I remember one time it was hot until November.
Last year, Lisa was sweating all the way into Christmas.
I was?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's hot. It's hot in here. I don't want to leave the window open, though, because the Nerf football's going to get me.
You are good with jokes. You're funny when you're not trying.
Lisa, what's wrong with your nose?
I have the allergies. I'm gonna get an allergy test next month. They're gonna test me for all the allergies.
Damn, I mean, you've been all effed up all year.
I know. No, because the second time I got COVID,
Mm-hmm.
Because the first time I got COVID, that cough went back. It went quick. Mm-hmm. But then the second time I got it, I swear, I don't know. It was worse the second time around.
can I say something to you, Lisa, that I hope you don't take offense at? Please don't take offense.
Okay.
Hmm.
But here's what's going to happen. You're going to go to the doctor. You're going to get allergy tests. Some positive results are going to come back. The doctor's going to tell you to change your diet to do this and this and this, and you're not going to do it.
Whoa!
Let me
Well, I suggest you just don't bother.
no, let me tell you, Tim. This time I'm actually gonna do it because I want to. And you know what, Tim? I lost 50 pounds in the past, so actually I proved that I could do it if I
Well,
wanted to.
I wish you the best, Lisa. I really do. I hope you know
Yeah.
that. But I
I
just
know.
gotten to know you and know that you're not.
Well, it is true. You're not lying. You're not lying,
Well, I was
Tim.
about to say, it's been, we've known you for years now, Lisa. It's like, we know.
Yeah.
No,
but
but
I mean,
it is true. I really don't prioritize my health. It is true. I'm not gonna beat around the bush.
Lisa, I'll tell you this. I like you so much that last night before I went to your bed, I went to your sister's channel, watched one of her videos, subbed, and left her a nice message.
Oh, thank you.
nice.
She's,
It
you
wasn't
know,
a creepy, leery message either.
No. No, but you know the thing about it, Tim, is I've been, ever since COVID, I've been slacking with going back on the diet thing. And I'll be really honest with you because I got kind of discouraged during COVID. And before that, like 2018, 2017, I had lost a lot of weight. And my mom just reminded me right now, looking at an old picture, she's like, you should try again.
Here's what I've discovered, and it's kind of what I do.
Yeah.
If you let yourself get hungry, okay, eventually you actually get like, because I don't eat like one meal a day. You actually get a little light. It's almost like being high. It's not an unpleasant feeling once you get used to it. And then you get a tipping point where, okay, I better go get something to eat. But you know, and I've learned to just live with it and live with my stomach growling and learn to, and that's the only reason I'm thin. If I eat like 3 meals a day like normal people, I would be fat. But I just refuse to do it, and it's just a matter of learning to, hunger isn't a bad thing. Just because your body wants something doesn't mean it needs it.
Yeah, I
Lizzie
didn't
wants
take
to link to your sister's channel.
Yeah, I'll get it. I didn't take offense to what you said, Tim, because I know I'm a lazy ass, and I'll own up to it.
Well, I will
I'm
let you
a
guys
lazy
know
ass.
what's on the horizon for me. I mean, for December 6th, my doctor is going to go ahead and take me in for an overhaul, which means he's going to be checking everything, and I mean everything. So, December 6th, and he said that he wants to test me for diabetes, all this different stuff. After everything clears, or he said that in late January, early February, he wants me to get the gastric sleeve. He's already on me about he wants me to get the gastric sleeve. And he's already been hyping me up on it, saying it's a 1-day procedure. You go in the morning, they'll let you out in the afternoon. He's all minimal time healing. He's all, but it is going to be a major lifestyle change. He's all, you will have to give up the beer, the sugar, the this, the that, And I was like, I understand that. Because I told him, I said, I'm 52. I realize I am way overweight. I gained way too much weight during the pandemic. Way too much weight. And I said, and I know that if I'm going to be sticking around for the next 15, 20, 25, 30 years, hopefully, I better do something now or I'm not going to stick around. It's not going to happen. I'm like, I am living in reality. I know what's going on, and stuff. But, so that's what's happening to me December 6th. Complete overhaul. He's going to go ahead and check out if there's anything going wrong and stuff. Like he was saying, I want to check your diet. I want to check if you have diabetes. I want to check your circulation. I want to check this. I want to check everything. And then he's like, and after we check everything, boom, he's all, we want you to get that gastric sleeve.
I mean, I check every year for my diabetes. Every year I have a test run for that. And I've been under, thankfully. I don't have diabetes.
But one of my friends, though, I mean, like my friend Mike, who's a really close friend of mine, he disagrees with the whole thing. Like he was telling me the other night, he was saying he's all, the thing that I don't like about the gastric sleeve is that it doesn't get down to the root of the problem.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, what exactly do you mean? He's all, Ezel, maybe the reason why you overeat is because there's some other issues that you have, and maybe those things need to be addressed first before you go and get a gastric sleeve. And I said, yeah, I understand that, but I told him, I went, I don't really feel that I overeat because I think I only eat maybe like Tim once a day. But the thing is, what I do eat at that time. So I don't think my portion size is in question. The soda is freaking horrendous, though.
Soda is the
Yeah.
worst thing you can
Yeah.
do. Soda is,
Yeah.
I mean, I drink soda, but I didn't drink diet soda, and it's probably why I
Uh-huh.
can't remember anything anymore. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I drink one a day too. I drink one, good old, those red
Mhm.
cups. That's
Easy
what I
to
use.
buy.
I eat one of those a day with a couple ice cubes in it, and that's it. That's my soda consumption for a day.
Yeah, it's like I know it's gonna be like that scene in the movie Fatso. Did you ever see that movie Fatso with Dom DeLuise? It's a comedy about Dom DeLuise being overweight and how they're trying to make him lose weight and how he's trying to lose weight when he lives in an Italian culture where it's all cheeses and
Well,
everything else. But there's this scene where he goes to the doctor and the doctor's like, and this is like 73, 74. And they're like telling him, okay, well, you can't have this. And then they're just like, you can't have beer. You can't have bread of any kind. You can't have sugar. You must not have sweets. You can't have this. Da, 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 da. And she's going over the whole list of like shit that he can't have. And it's like a scene that like carries on for like 10 minutes with her telling him what he can't have. And he's like crying, like single tears are coming down his face while she's telling him. It's a pretty funny scene.
I mean, is there like complications to having the gastric sleeve?
I'm sure there's complications with anything doing. There can be,
it's possible,
but
Like major
No.
complications.
But I say that the key, there's two keys. Move as much as possible. Go for walks.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Do exercise as much as you can, and I'm being serious about this next one. Get some sort of a hobby, and it doesn't matter what it is, but something
Yeah.
that takes your time and keeps you busy. Because if you're busy and you're doing something, you're not eating. You're not snacking.
That's true, yeah.
You're like when I make CDs a lot, and when I'm making CDs, I don't want anything. I just want to get the damn CD done. So if you do something like that, if you do something that keeps you busy, whatever it is, you're not eating and you're not thinking about food. This right here is good. I don't, I refuse to eat or even drink on camera. So,
Yeah.
we do this for 5 hours. I'm not doing anything but sitting here for 5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm eating. I'm not, just stay busy, and
Mhm.
that will help a lot.
Yeah.
Where is it? I'm trying to see here.
I mean,
If
I
you
gotta
need
do something.
if you need to snack, if you just learn to love popcorn, because popcorn has
Yeah.
and don't put a lot of butter on it. You put as much salt on it as you want. Unless you got high blood pressure, then don't do that.
No.
Pepper. People don't know. Put pepper on your popcorn. Pepper on popcorn is really good. It adds flavor and it doesn't add calories, and it actually will spark your circulation a little bit. Okay, I'm through being doctor.
No. I was listening. I was looking for something at the same time while you were talking. That's why it was like I'm kind of like
No.
Yeah.
I've preached enough.
Yeah.
Because I have been overweight in the past, not
Uh-huh.
tons, but at one point I got to needing a size 34 in pants, and for me that's pretty big. I wear a 30. I graduated high school in a 29, and I still wear a 30. So for me, 34 is quite large. That's 4 inches. That's a lot.
I mean,
So,
luckily for me, I don't have a lot to lose. I only have 40 pounds to lose. So that's.
Yeah, that's what I was about. I mean, I was about to say is you're still fairly small, Lisa.
I am still fairly
like
small,
me,
so
it's like
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
me, Tim, I've already talked to my doctor about it because I called her and I talked to her and we are, working on something. Because
Mhm.
when I was like skinny and I had lost the weight, I was never sick.
Mm-hmm.
Never sick.
Yeah,
No, it does a
exercise.
number on your immune system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exercise, whether that's walking,
Oh, I do walking.
and
I did
and
walking
and
cardio.
you probably will. You probably will scoff at me, but I think the best
Mhm.
exercise there is bike riding.
I used to
Mhm.
have a bike.
Find
but my-
trails, go fast, go as fast as you can till you can't anymore, and you do that. When I lived in Ohio, I didn't have a car for a while, and I rode my bike everywhere, and I was eating one meal a day because that's all I had the time to do. I was working overnights, blah blah blah. When my fiance came to visit
Oh.
me, she
Uh-huh.
screamed because I was so thin. And it's because all I did was ride my bike everywhere, work, and eat like one little meal a day. And bike riding is amazing.
Yeah, Italian diet
Here's
is
that
good.
scene I was telling you about. This is definitely what I'm going to be facing on December
These are
6th.
your do's and these are your do-nots. Do broil all your meats. Do drink 8 glasses of water a day. Do eat all the fresh green vegetables you want. Do drink 2 glasses of non-fat milk a day. Do not drink any alcoholic beverages. Do not drink soda pop. Do not drink aids or punches. Do not eat butter, margarine, oils, lard, or fat of any kind. Do not eat fried foods. Do not eat bread. Do not eat bananas, grapes, watermelon, or any fruits other than grapefruit or cantaloupe. Do not eat canned fruits. Do not eat dried fruits. Do not eat noodles. Do not eat spaghetti or macaroni of any kind. Do
Damn.
not eat pizza. Do not eat popcorn, potato chips, or pretzels. Do not eat
Why
puddings or
Why is
custard.
everybody down at
Do not eat
popcorn?
ice cream, frozen custard, or
Popcorn
frozen
has
yogurt.
almost no calories.
Do not eat cookies, pies, cakes, pancakes, waffles, or any baked goods. Do not eat chocolate, caramel, fudge, nougat, nuts. Do not eat syrup.
That's how I'm going to totally sound like, what?
I don't get the whole popcorn thing. Popcorn is the best food
Yeah.
you can eat for you. It'll fill
Oh.
you up. It has almost no calories.
Yeah, 1973.
Look at AZ makes all fat, so I love that movie. I like the part where it's like, who was his sister played by? I totally forgot. Was it Anne Bancroft? Anne Bancroft played his sister. And there's a scene at the beginning where his cousin dies, and he's like over 500 pounds, where they have to put him in this huge freaking. It's not funny, but it is funny. They have to put him in this huge freaking like piano-sized freaking coffin, and they're trying to drag him along with a hearse, and it's hooked up to the back of a hearse with one of those U-Haul things. But when they're at the funeral, and Bancroft's like yelling at the casket, she's like, "You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch! I freaking told you! I fucking told you! I told you lose weight! Go to the doctor! I made an appointment to go to the doctor, and you went and you got a fucking pizza! You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch!" It's funny. And she turns around, she's all, and she tells Dom DeLuise, she's all, "I love you. I loved you, and I loved your cousin. So you people are good.
Yeah.
The fat people are always good, and the fat people always die young."
Well, it is sadly kind of true. A lot of times.
Oh, pretty funny. He makes all, yep. He's seen it. Nobody was saying the word carbs in 1970. Well, in 73, it's like, it was still cool to smoke too, wasn't it? That was like right after,
Yeah.
or was the 50s the height of smoking?
The 50s and the early 60s was the
Yeah.
highest thing. They already knew it was bad for you. I mean, they banned
Mm-hmm.
cigarette ads on television in 72, so they knew it
Mhm.
was bad for you by the 70s.
I mean, if you, Dan, my brother, my older brother, not the homophobic one,
Uh-huh.
he did keto, and he lost 50 pounds on it.
Keto was actually very good if you were able to get it going.
Yeah,
You know,
ketosis.
that's, yeah. If you were
But
able to
yeah.
actually achieve ketosis, yeah.
But
Yeah,
I've heard that though, if you stop, unless you live your rest of your life that way, you'll gain the weight back, and it's like, well, that's not good.
Well, he's been that way for a few years now, and he's looking great.
But is he
Oh,
still
I got
doing
you.
it?
Yep.
I mean, well, that's the thing. You can't stop.
Yeah, of course.
You know.
I mean,
and
I was in the, ironically,
Hmm.
I was in the best health of my life, ironically, when I was vegan.
Yeah, I would assume so, yeah.
I wasn't sick for 2 years.
You were vegan, and then you went pescatarian, or
Yeah, and I wasn't
Uh-huh.
sick for 3 years. It was fantastic. Had so much energy. But then I stopped it because going to parties, it was, family. They don't want to make me specialty dinners, so I
is
kinda-
it starting to become cool again, Nick? Because I know that like for the longest time, well, a better part of a decade, if not a decade, a lot of kids were just like they looked at you like if you smoked, they looked at you like you were a dinosaur. They're
I
like
mean-
when you smoke cigarettes, they're like, "Oh, what? You smoke cigarettes? What?"
Yeah, the kids doing the vaping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like me, it's like I quit smoking probably like 15 years ago, something like that. And it's like I quit smoking about 15 years ago, and I can't watch like Mad Men or any of those shows. Like Mad Men, they smoke like freaking crazy on that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Well, I mean, in the 50s, doctors used to prescribe smoking for weight loss.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, well, the women had like also they had like gender specific brands like Virginia Slims and
yeah.
stuff like
Newport.
that. And no, Newport was like,
as a matter of fact, there's that movie that came out a few years ago. It was called Good Night and Good Luck.
uh huh,
And that they made that movie play out as if you're watching a show,
mm-hmm,
and in between like segments, there'll be like a commercial for something, and it showed like one of the, like a cigarette commercial, and I think because if you've seen the movie Good Night Good Luck, it's all about Ed Murrow, the guy that
Yeah.
took down Senator Joseph McCarthy.
mm-hmm.
And on his shows, even when he's interviewing people like Liberace, he's always having like a cigarette in his hand. And
Yeah.
so they worked out that commercial that said like, tonight's show is brought to you by this cigarette brand. And I was like, wow, they're like really tasty people to smoke cigarettes back in the 50s. I was like, thank God that died out.
Well, even as late as, Tom Snyder always had a cigarette in his hand when he was interviewing people. And that show went into the 80s, and he always had a cigarette.
Remember Morton Downey Jr.?
Yep.
He was another one. He was like, he would smoke like a, well, I mean, of course it killed him, but he was like,
Yeah.
he smoked like a chimney. And I remember the other one out here in California, actually like right here, the next street over, the building KDOC is right there. Wally George, he was like this Southern California thing. He was like this like conservative John Wayne type. He would come on the air and he was like a public access TV, and he would sit there and he would chain smoke. He would chain smoke. He'd be like telling people, "Get the fuck on my stage, can liberal hippie." He'd be smoking cigarettes.
I mean, my
Yeah.
uncle, bless his heart, my uncle Kwong, he went through, he's a cancer survivor, and he still smokes a lot. He doesn't care.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Dan said,
thought
"How
he
long
was-
did the Rolling Stones show cigarette ads?"
I don't know.
I'm starting to think
Because
that
he's
Keith Richards is like that episode of The Simpsons. Remember when they turn around and they like take Mr. Burns in to have a physical, and they turn around and they said, "Well, we're gonna be, absolutely straight with you. We did every test and we discovered you have every disease known to man, and the only thing that's actually keeping you alive is that you have every disease known to man. It's kind of like they're all clogging at the door; they can't get through. So if we move you the wrong way, one might get through and kill you."
I mean, you know who
That's
does the
Keith
voice?
Richards.
You know who does the voice for Mr. Burns?
Who?
Harry Shearer.
Harry
from
Shearer.
Final
There you
Tab.
go.
Yeah.
I think cigarette ads got banned the same year they did on television. I think 72 was the last year for the answer Rolling Stone would be 72. I think they all went.
I think I've seen some in the 90s.
magazines.
But the ones I seen in the 90s as a kid was that lady with the hole in her neck, and she.
Well, no, they could do anti-smoking
Yeah.
commercials, but you can't advertise cigarette. In New York State, it's terrible.
No,
Every
well-
time you sit down for dinner, there's people dying in front of you while you're eating. Doesn't matter what channel you're on. There they are, they're dying in front of you, and then they're dead. By the time the commercial's over, it tells you they died.
Yeah, it tells they're dead. Yeah, it was like
You're
you had
sitting
those.
there
Like,
eating, and you're like, "This is great," And it's only at dinner time too. It's not the rest of the day. It's only between like 5:30 and 7. They show these damn smoking.
Because that would be the time they figured they had the whole family home. Well, back in
Yeah.
the old days, anyways, not today.
And you know what? That was
Well,
the
today
that was the
still.
weird- that was the weirdest thing for me when I used to work at Walmart, because if you're a cashier, they will move you to every department, including if you had to be in the counter where they sold cigarettes. And it was weird for me to turn around and sell someone that wanted like a pack of cigarettes, when in fact I was totally anti-smoking. And that goes back to when I was about possibly 8, maybe 9 years old, because like, you know, my dad was like a very big smoker, and we hated the fact that he smoked. We used to see all those, you know, like public ad things on TV that bad, it'll kill you and stuff, and
Yeah.
they'll show you that lung and everything. And I was like, I don't want that to happen to my dad. So we will tear up his cigarettes, and he would get pissed off at us when we did, you know, because he
Well,
paid like a lot of money for it. And
yeah,
but
I'm
what-
like, oh, you're pretty expensive.
what happened with him,
Uh-huh.
the way that he quit was he was a cop at the time,
Uh-huh.
and he was chasing a perp, someone
Uh-huh.
that like robbed a store or something like that. And so he had to chase this guy, and you know, and he tackled the guy, and when he tackled the guy, my dad was like wheezing a lot, like, you know, was trying to catch his breath.
Uh-huh.
The guy that he tackled, he said like, "Damn, man, you gotta stop smoking. I can hear your lungs."
Even the criminals telling him, man, you didn't take a break off that cigarette.
And he was like,
Criminals all, you all right, man?
He was like, it was that moment that I realized to stop smoking, when you had the perp telling you, like, you know, you're out of state.
Yeah.
And so he did. He ended up quitting smoking, and you know, like, and I was like happy that he did that. Sadly, I had like another uncle that smoked a lot, but that actually killed him.
Yeah,
he ended
yeah,
up
I know that. I know that
He
all
ended up
too
getting
well.
cancer in his throat, you know. But yeah, it was weird, like, you know, working at Walmart. And the funniest thing about working at Walmart is, and I think Tim knows this too, that when you have like the break room in the back, you had a break room for the employees, but they had like a separate one for the smokers.
Yeah.
And so, and when that door opened, you could just, that whole room is fucking yellow.
Yeah.
That's
In New York, in New York State,
that's
you-
fucking yellow, like the nastiest shade of yellow you ever seen, and that whiff comes out you're like, oh my fucking god, how could you stay in a room like that? And it was like, oh my god.
No, since the late 80s, you cannot smoke in a public building anywhere in New York State. You can't even have a dedicated smoker's room or anything like that.
Mm.
Smoking outside in public, that's it. So you're going outside if you're smoking in New York State anywhere. There's,
Yeah.
there's no smoking rooms, there's no smoking lounges, nothing anywhere outside.
I remember I was DJing a club the day that it switched over at midnight, and they said that there was no more smoking. You know, it's like everybody was in the club. You know, they were all smoking. Everybody was smoking like chimneys. And midnight came, and they said, "Okay, everybody's got to put their cigarettes out. Everybody, you know, it's a violation now. That's it. California state law, cigarettes out." And everybody put out their cigarettes, and it was like weird because like we had these huge fans that would like, you know, clean out the cigarette smoke, and all of a sudden it just became like so clear. And they were like, "Oh wow."
Yeah.
We're like, the lasers look different in here. Everything's different.
Oh, yeah,
I'm like, yeah.
The bar I hung out at in DC, they lost the power one day, and I went out and I walked in, and they were still open even though there's no power. There hadn't been power for a couple of hours, and I couldn't believe you couldn't see 10 feet in front of you from all the smoke. You know, this was before the smoking ban, and I was like, I can't believe the difference that the fans making. I was just like, this is amazing. I couldn't believe how much smoke was in the bar without those fans on. It was amazing.
$15 a pack of cigarettes now. Jesus Christ! I remember when it was $20 for a whole carton.
I mean,
I remember when it was $10 for a carton or less. I
mean,
didn't
when
smoke, but I had relatives that did.
I mean, it's not $20. when my uncle bought it, it was like 30 something.
Yeah, but that was more recently. So we're talking about like, I'm thinking
Yeah.
like back like during the 80s when it was like, $20 for a whole carton and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first started,
remember
Mhm. when I
cheap.
first started smoking, I
remember
would,
when a pack of cigarettes in a vending machine was like 75 cents.
well, I was going to say, I remember in the 80s when I first started smoking, like 86, 87 ish, I would go to the Stop and Go and they used to sell us cigarettes too. They wouldn't even card us. And Marlboro I used to smoke Lights 100s. And they would sell them in these packs of three packs and stuff. I would like $5 for a 3-pack, for a 3-pack of them or whatever. I mean, for like $5, a little bit under $5. I mean, just crazy. I bet Smokey Robinson never even smoked. I don't think he did. If you want to protect your voice, you don't.
Well, yeah, I mean,
No.
that is
Yeah.
true. I wish my uncle would have stopped.
That's Paul
He would
McCartney.
have been alive.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney was a smoker?
Oh,
yeah, that's right. He
Yeah.
was.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. He was.
I don't know when he quit, but I'm not positive he ever did. He probably did, but he smoked well into the 70s. I know that.
Now he just smokes weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when he quit. He never, went public with it, or, after a while he stopped appearing in public with a cigarette in his hand.
Mhm.
But I'm pretty sure he was still a smoker at that point in time.
I remember when the photo came out. Was it during the pandemic of him smoking weed, and people were like just having a whole
Yep.
freaking field day with it. And I was like, man, the man's almost at that time. The man's almost 80 years old.
Yeah.
The man is a legend. He's done whatever. He's done so much in life. Leave the fucker alone. Let him smoke his weed. That's the way I was. I was like, just let him smoke his fucking weed. Uh-oh. Lisa, your baby's crying.
No, it's my neighbor's baby.
Okay, sure.
That's why I love that segment when I think it was like in 83, 84 when
Mm-hmm.
he and Linda got arrested and in Barbados. And
Uh-huh.
it's not in Japan. This is when they went to Barbados and they both got busted. And so Paul's like, we had to pay 25 Barbados dollars for smoking cannabis. But let me get this straight. This substance, cannabis, I'm telling you, is less lethal than rum punch, whiskey, and glue, which are perfectly legal. It needs to be, I like to see this decriminalized and legalized because I don't feel like I should be punished on what I'm doing in the privacy of my own home. And I don't think I'm doing any harm to anyone. And I love watching that video a lot. It's on YouTube. And you can just read the comments that people leave. They're like, fucking A, yeah, Paul McCartney legalized it. And like, that's why he's the cool Beatle. Because,
And from what I've always heard, Paul likes his whiskey too, but nobody ever says anything about that.
Like so, glue. You had to say
I know,
glue.
there's like a couple of people in there that they're like joking. They're like saying, hey, leave us glue smellers alone.
So leave us huffers alone. What do we ever do to you? Smoke your weed, old man. Leave us huffers alone.
You crazy beetle, you.
Cigarette vending machines are huge collectibles. Definitely.
Yeah, people do. I mean,
They
my
used
uncle
to be
came to our
everywhere.
house.
Well, people were trusting back then. I mean, kids didn't do, kids were much better behaved. I'm sorry, but they were. I mean,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, your dad could send you to the store with a note to get him cigarettes or beer,
Mhm.
and they would sell it
Yeah.
because it was going ham. Well, for one thing, I think because your father had the right to beat your ass if you smoked his cigarettes or drank his beer. Once he couldn't do that anymore. Okay, now we got to make laws that they can't do that. But back then, you're afraid of your father. You liked your father, but you're afraid of him for good reason, and that's a good thing. I think. I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
Lisa,
What?
are you still there? Why is your camera off?
I don't know. I had to cough a little, so I turned it off.
She was
Oh,
smoking.
that's why you go like this. You go, That's
Yeah,
why you go like
see.
this. You go. See, you didn't hear it, did you?
No,
I didn't have to go like this.
No, I turned it off. I turned off the sound.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah,
Lisa's hawking up along. I don't want no hawking on my bread. Okay.
I don't know why I'm hucking up along, but whatever. It is what it is.
Pretty straight. Well, wasn't Ted Nugent a weed smoker too, though? Or am I assuming, making an assumption?
I never.
I
much
don't know
about
too
him.
much about him, so.
I was never a fan of music, so that's.
Hmm.
His politics has nothing to do with it. I'm not
Yeah.
a fan of music, so I don't care.
I don't know. I'm just one of those people that like subscribes to the whole thing. That like, rock stars aren't going to tell me who I should follow. When it comes to like politics. I mean, I like it when some rock stars turn around and they endorse someone. Okay, that's great. Because there are younger people that are just starting to vote that are, I guess, influenced by that. But it's not going to make any difference to me if somebody comes on and says you should vote for.
They should stay out of it.
Yeah.
They used to have to. It used to be in actors especially, but musicians too. It was in their contract. Like the Beatles got bitched at by Brian Epstein if they mentioned like the Vietnam War or anything, or racism in America or anything. They got all hell broke loose after that interview with Brian. You just didn't back then in the good old days. People just kept their mouths shut. They could believe what they wanted to believe. They could do what they wanted to do, but you didn't make it public. You just went about your day.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was at Target, and I saw this little kid real young kid. He had to have been like maybe like 5, 6, maybe something like that, like 5 or 6. And he was telling his mother, well, if I don't get this, it's going to be a hell of a ride home.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And she was like, no, you're not getting that. Well, then I guess you're going to have a rough time. It's going to be a rough ride home. You're going to have a rough time. Like, I'm going to throw a fit or whatever, And I was like, almost going to like walk over and be like, would you like me to smack him for you? I'm like, oh, can I smack him for you?
You know what my answer with that would be? I'm going to have a fine ride home because you're going to be in the trunk.
There you go. Crazy kid needs a whooping. You know what it reminds me of though, AC Mick? It's like I read that book. I read it actually recently too. Was the one written by Nancy Spungen, mother, and I Don't Want to Live This Life. And she was saying that Nancy Spungen used to tell her, like from the time she was like a really young child, she would turn around and tell her, Mom, if you do not get this certain thing for me, I swear to God, I'm going, but she would say it in detail. She'd go, I'm going to go home and I'm going to go in the closet and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get your green dress, the one that you like, the one that has the purple buttons on it, and I'm going to cut it up. Crazy, man. I think they really need to do like a movie on that book.
Yeah.
Because she was fucking nuts. And they said that she was bipolar and schizophrenic, but she said they really didn't understand it in those days. They didn't really understand it, so they weren't able to medicate her or anything,
But what needs to happen, I'm sorry, but parents need to be able to spank their child. I'm sorry, but they do. It doesn't hurt the kid. It hurts them for about 5 minutes, and then it's over and it's done. And they've learned a lesson, and they might not do it again because they don't like it. Now, if you can't punish someone, I'm sorry, punishment works. Not just reward works, punishment works. When you're a little kid and you're acting up in school, in kindergarten, what used to happen with us is they would send that kid either to the principal or they'd have to stand the rest of the class in the corner. Well, all the other kids are staring at them, and they're going to laugh at them and point at them on the way out, and they're going to... Now you can't do that. And it's like, so they don't learn anything. I'm sorry, but you learn by punishment just as much as you learn by... I don't care what anybody says.
I remember one time when I was young, I must have been like in the 6th grade, 5th or 6th grade, I was really acting out. I mean, I was really having a day. and they sent me to the principal's office. I remember the principal's name was Mr. Broadhead. I remember his name, Broadhead. Funny name. But he turned around, he's like, oh, this is back when they used to sign up. My mom signed the paper saying, you know, that he was able to smack me, you know, and stuff. And he turned around, he's like, oh, he's all, you know, you pushed your limits, you pushed it, and now you've been, you know, suggested to have a spanking. And I looked at him, I was like, what? And he pulls out this Popeye paddle. You know, it's like one of those paddles that they used to hit the rubber ball with. And he was gonna, like, you know, he's all, okay, you gotta bend over the desk. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna smack you with this. And I'm like looking at him like, what's that gonna do? He's all. I'm not trying to hurt you. He's all. This is about humiliation. You know. So he was like saying, he was straight with me. He's all. Yeah. I'm not trying to hurt you. He's all. This should be humiliation. This should show you the level that you've come with your behavior. That I have to do something as ridiculous as this to you. You know. And I never acted out again. I never did again. I was like, exactly. All right.
Lesson.
You know,
people don't realize that you learn in life. You actually learn more from your failures than your successes, at least sometimes. And acting out and that kind of, that's a failure. And if there's consequences, that's what's wrong with New York State right now. You do anything except murder somebody, you're gonna spend at most the night in jail, and you're gonna be free in the morning. No bail, no nothing. You're done. It doesn't matter what you did. You're done. You're out. Well, guess what? You've learned nothing from that. If instead you're in jail until they mortgage your house or whatever to come up with the money to get you out, guess what? Now you've learned something.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you know, it's true. Yeah,
that's what they don't seem to understand. Nobody learns anything anymore.
No.
You know, I've been fortunate enough that I have never ever gotten into any serious trouble where I was taken to the station, and there's been a lot of circumstances where I was in situations where I could have been taken in, but you know, my mother had always raised me to be like, you know, if you show a police officer respect and you talk to him and you say yes sir, no sir. Yeah. Most of the time, a lot of cops will go ahead and they will let you even get away with things. And it is proven true. You know, cops have stopped me and I've been like one time we got busted. I mean, we were like 15 and we had like 12 packs of beer. You know, and this cop stopped us and he's like, oh, you know, my friends ran. You know, and I got busted with a whole 12 pack of beer. You know, and he goes, he's all, is this your beer? And I turned around and looked at him and I went, yes, sir. And he turns around and he goes, what were you going to do? And I said, we were going to drink it, sir. And he's all, so you're being honest with me. You were going to drink this beer. I said, yes, sir. He's all, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Since you're being honest with me, I want you to sit here and I want you to dump everyone out here on the curb. You know, and I dumped them all out. And he turned and he's all, you see that man's garbage can over there? I want you to go take this and put it in that man's garbage can. I went to the garbage can. He's all, now get the fuck out of here and go home. You know, I was like, okay. You know, and that's always proven true. As long as I told them yes sir, no sir, you know, I got away with shit.
That's
you know,
true. I mean, I had a cop that pulled me over constantly. I don't know why. He just, I don't, because he figured out who I was by the time. But once they pulled me over, I guess he would forget me. I don't know, but he'd pull me over. He'd see an older guy in a car, and where are you coming from? You know, I'm coming from work. Where do you work? Sam's Club. We get 11:30. Blah 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 blah. And he always, you know, but he was trying to catch drunk drivers. I get what he was doing. And sometimes I just stopped at the bar for a beer or two, but I was never drunk. But you know, if I was indignant with him or anything, he'd have pulled me out and made me do all the tests. But they never did, because I was always, you know, you got to treat people with respect. And you know, people don't realize that anymore. They want to be treated that way, but they don't want to treat other people that way. And I was brought up that the only way you're ever going to get treated with respect is if you treat other people with respect.
Well, I mean, you know, a lot of people will turn around and say, oh, all cops are bastards, blah, blah, blah. But like my mother kind of raised me to see things differently. My mother had turned around and said, you know what? So you have to realize by the time the cop's dealing with you, he's been on his shift probably all day. He's been dealing with jackasses all day. And now he's going to come deal with you, another jackass. You know, don't make his job any fucking harder. You know, so
I try to make people's lives, like when I go through a drive-through or something, I always say thank you to, even if it's just the person taking my money. I always say thank you, have a nice day. And then when I get my food, I thank you, have a nice day. You know,
Hmm.
it doesn't cost you anything, and they don't always do it back, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate because it's their job and they're supposed to. But as a customer, if you do it, some people really appreciate it. And it's just treat people nice. Well, I say that for everything. It's why I hate
Yeah.
I remember I had this
word
one
on the
teacher.
internet. That's why I hate them. And just treat people with respect. And it's not any harder to treat people well than to treat them
Mhm.
poorly.
Yeah.
So you might as well treat them well. You'll feel better about it. They'll feel better about it. The world will be a better place.
Yeah, I had this one teacher in the first grade. Her name was Mrs. Gibson. She was just evil on earth. The woman looked like a witch. She looked like the witch from The Wizard of Oz. Literally. This is my first grade teacher. And she used to pick on me relentlessly because I hung out with a couple of kids, which she really did not like. Unfortunately, I did not know that. So I got picked on along with the rest of these kids. And she was always like just riding my ass. Well, anyways, years later, after I had already, left first grade, but I mean, this is like when I was in college. I was working at Wendy's in a drive-thru, and she comes around through the drive-thru, and she turns around and she looks at me and she goes, "Blah blah blah blah." She says my name. "You're right where I would expected you to be at this point in your life." And I looked at her, I was just like, wow, what a bitch.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, what a bitch. I was like, damn. She's like, you're just right. Even other people were like helping with the food. Went, did she really just say that? I was like,
Wow.
yeah. I was like, I couldn't. I don't remember being that horrible of a kid. So fast forward, however many years later, my son, we're living in the same city. And my son, my first son, my oldest son, goes to Creston School. We take him to the same school that I went to. He gets her for the first grade. She's still freaking alive. She sees his last name, which my last name, I won't say it here, but my last name is a very, very, it's a name you don't always hear every day, And she turns around and she's like, oh my God, is your father's name blah, blah, blah? And my son's like, yeah. And she's totally picking on him. I never deal with her. I always end up sending his mother to deal with her. I'm like, I'm not going to deal with her. That woman hates me. And she's like, you were in the first grade. How much could she hate you? I'm like, she hates me. Trust me.
Nice for a school teacher.
Uh-huh.
I never had. Thank goodness. I didn't like my first grade teacher either. But there probably wasn't really anything wrong with her. I just didn't.
But I was just very careful not to say anything negative about her in front of my son, so he wouldn't go in there and say something negative. Phil, oh, well, my dad's, thinks that she's a bitch, so it's okay for me to think she's a bitch too, because I didn't want him to think that. But, I would turn around and I would tell, well, she was my wife at that time. I would turn around and tell her, I'd be like, oh, evil never fucking dies. That woman's going to be there for all of our kids, trust me. I'm like, she's going to be there for my grandkids.
Well, if your kids start having grandkids.
But I hope you at least had one good teacher too.
Oh no, I had one. His name was Mr. Pap. I really wish I could find where he went. He was like one of those teachers who was like,
that's key.
Yeah.
I think I might have told you guys this, but I'm going to tell it again because it's my favorite story. I was in second grade. And I had this teacher, Mrs. Good, but then she got married and we had a substitute for like a month. And she became Mrs. Peterson. But I can't remember if this happened before or after she got married. But I was probably 6 weeks behind in my schoolwork in second grade. I was failing. I was just bored to death. Okay, I was literally just bored to death, and she doesn't know she's gonna have to fail me. And I've got a twin brother, and they did not want to fail, and you do not want to fail a twin. You do, because that's really bad when you're the same age as your brother and you're in different grades. That's not good. So one day, and so when she would give us like once in a while, a half an hour to go talk and play and blah blah
Mhm.
blah and whatever. But I would have to sit there and do work the whole time, every time, to try to catch up. And I just found it so repetitive and so boring. And I was like, I was just, everything was slow, right? So then one day she said, we're gonna do a little test today, a little experiment. This will be fun. And she hands out papers to everybody. And so she's like, everybody does this. And she looks right at me and says, you do it too, Tim. And I'm like, okay. Usually I didn't do this kind of stuff. If it was fun, I just sat there and wrote or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was this thing with like 25 things on it, like count the number of dots in the ceiling tiles, count the number of pencil shavings in the pencil sharpener, count the number of tiles on the floor, blah, blah, blah. But number one on the sheet was read through the entire list before you begin and sign your name on the top. And the last one was disregard all but number one, fold your hands on your desk and sit quietly. Okay? And guess who was the only person in the class that did that? And so she's laughing, you know, she's watching all the kids because she knows what's going to happen, right? She knows. But then she looks out and sees me, and I'm paranoid because I should be doing what everybody else is doing, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I did the wrong thing. And she looked at me, and I swear she started crying. She looked at me and just was like, oh my God. So she after a few minutes, she calls everybody to sit down, and she explains what this was. And she points at me and said, right there is the only person that read the instructions through. And she decided that's why I was so far behind. That I actually took the time to read whatever the instructions were, I actually read them. And I was not a good reader then. And blah, blah, blah. And most of what I was behind in was just writing. We were learning to write and doing, you know. So after class, she's like, Tim, I need you to stay after class a few minutes. And after class was done, she said, here's what we're going to do. I think you're behind because you're bored. You're clearly smart. You're smarter than anybody in this room. So I'm going to throw out everything that we've done before, and we're going to start over again. Because I got behind because I was bored. So I'm looking out the window and stuff, and I'm not doing what. And so she's like, she moved my seat closer to the front, and she changed my life. I never failed a class again after that. She taught me that I was smart and that I just can't get behind and I need to pay attention. And she literally changed my life. She's the first person ever to say, you're smart. Everybody told me I was a moron. My mother told me, your brother's a smart one. You're not dumb, but your brother's smarter than you. My father just called me an idiot. And this woman just, and it was all because of a stupid piece of paper. But, you know, so I loved teachers after that. I loved her. I was like, I was like, what are you, in second grade or whatever? But I had a huge crush on her, and I was just like, she's the best person in the world. She wound up buying a car from my dad. And that was really embarrassing when your second grade comes and buys a car from your dad. But anyway, I'm crying now. I cry every time I tell this story because it changed my life. Teachers are great. They should all be like that.
You know, I was going to say is that I don't think in elementary school I ever had a bad teacher. Except for Miss Gibson was, I think with her, it was more misunderstanding more than I did anything to her. But like all of the teachers, I remember all of them too. Mr. Wells, Mrs. Durante, Miss Moore, Mr. Papp. I remember them all. I remember all their names. But yeah, in elementary school, I had all good teachers. That was a really, really good school.
In in my opinion,
Mhm.
what your teacher should have done if she wasn't a bad person, and I think she was because
Uh-huh.
of what she said to you at Wendy's. But if
Yeah.
she wasn't a bad person, what she should have done is what my teacher did: have you stay after class a few minutes and have a talk
Mhm.
with you and tell you, I'm treating you this way because you're hanging out with a bad crowd, and if you continue to hang out with them and they're doing whatever they're doing and blah blah blah, then you will continue to be treated this way. But
Yeah.
if you wise up, and that's what she should have done. And
And actually, to tell you the truth, the two kids that she does not like, that she did
Mhm.
not like, I'm still in touch with to this day, are very successful. They're
Okay,
very
well
successful.
then maybe
I mean,
she was
so
just a bad person then. But if you are
no, they were
hanging out,
no, they were assholes. They were jackasses when we were young. Trust me, they
that's
were.
what you should do.
Uh-huh.
But I also had
Uh-huh.
a math teacher when I was in junior high. Maybe it was even high school. I can't remember.
Mhm.
We had it was the first Regents we had to take, and by that time, my brother was ahead of me in certain subjects like math
Mhm.
and stuff because I was never good in math. So he took like Regents math a year before I did, and
Mhm.
blah blah blah. So we didn't take same Regents, but when he took it, he got a decent grade, 88 or something like that.
Mhm.
Which is pretty. And I was failing math the entire semester, just about. Um, and we took our Regents and we're in the cafeteria eating lunch that day, and he comes walking in with a lot of papers, and he's doing this. We called him. His name was Mr. Russin, but we called him Mr.
Mhm.
Russian because he was like a Russian. He was old, and he's doing this, and like, oh God, what's he want? And he's doing this. He comes over and he stands by me, and he
Uh-huh.
takes this piece of paper in his hand, unfolds it, lays it down in front of me, and it's my test. And he goes, I don't know how you did it. I don't think you cheated, but you're looking at the highest score in this year's Regents. Congratulations. And he picked the paper up and walked away. And I was like, everybody's like, my brother was pissed. It was like a 92 or something like that. It was higher than he got the year before.
Sweet.
Everybody's just staring at me, and I'm like, I have no idea how I
Mhm.
did that. I'm not good at math. I didn't cheat. I never cheated.
Mhm.
I'm horrible at math. I had to go to summer school every year.
That was the other
Be right
good
back.
moment from
You gotta turn off the
somebody,
AC. I'll be right back.
Okay.
from somebody that nobody liked. That comes out of them. You're just like, they were all shocked too. They were all, what the hell?
My
Yeah.
story with math is that I hate math. I
Me too.
despise it. I don't like anything about it. I just don't like math. And so one day I got a letter in the mail saying like, congratulations, you're getting a letter this year. And so I was like, oh, cool, I'm getting a letter. This is like in high school. And this is like, I think it was like might have been my sophomore year. And so I was like, cool. So I went through the whole thing, and like my dad was there too. Like, he was happy that I'm doing great and stuff, because I'm gonna be the first graduate of his kids. Because my older sister, she dropped out of high school. She just didn't want to know anymore about high school, so she just dropped out. So he knew that I was gonna be like the first one to graduate and stuff. So, I think I might have been the only kid that he had that graduated. Even though I'm looking at my little sister right now, hoping that she graduates high school or something like that. Anywho, so we're at this ceremony and stuff like that, and so I was like, I wonder why I'm getting a letter in. I was like, well, okay, let's look at what classes I feel like I did. Okay, well, I'm great in my English classes because I loved English, and I was like, okay, English is a possibility. I'm probably getting a letter in English. I was like, okay, what else? Like, well, there's science, my science class, because I was taking astronomy that year, and I kicked ass in astronomy and physics, and so I was like, okay, so it might be astronomy or physics. Like I'm getting a letter in, like you may never know. So I was like thinking of all the classes like I could be getting a letter in. So, they did all the English ones, and nope. Literature, nope. Science, nope. Astronomy, nope. Then what the fuck am I getting a letter in? What the fuck am I doing here? Like, it cannot be music. I'm a first. I only did half a year of music. It cannot be. It cannot be this Renaissance, the student government class, because usually give letters to the senior members of the class. They don't give letters to the sophomore or like, what else am I getting a letter in? Now for algebra, and they didn't announce my name. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm getting a letter in math, and I was disappointed. I was like, hey, thank you, nice, thank you. And I was like, and my dad was like all happy, and I go, oh, congratulations, And I was like, no, I hate math, Dad. What do I get this? And so that bungled my mind throughout those years. Like, how the fuck did I get a letter?
Yeah, I didn't like math either, and was failing in college. I think I told you guys this story too. It was a year-long math course. You had to take it. I was a literary major. And it's all stuff I'd had before, but I didn't remember it. It'd been years, and I'm failing and failing. And one day, it just clicked. I'm sitting there doing my math homework, and like a light bulb went over my head, and I figured it out for the first time. I got my homework right, and I turned it in, and it was right. And she always gave bonuses, and whenever I did homework, we had to turn it in. I never got below 100 ever after that, and then I took the final, and I got like 103 on my final or something like that. And well, it wasn't the final. It was before the final, because we had a big test before the final. So anyway, I'm riding to school on the metro to college. It was American University in DC, and door opens, and in comes my teacher on the train. I'm going to her final right now. This is where I'm going, and here she is on the train, and she's like, "Oh, Tim," and she comes over and sits next to me, and looks at me and says, "Can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Sure." And I had a crush on her, actually. She was Eastern European. I don't know where from. Probably about my age. A little funky, but I thought she was cute, nice, and hard. Anyway.
I wasn't.
They asked me, and
yeah.
and she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You were failing my class. You. I don't think I ever got above a 50 on one of her tests ever before I got it." And I told her the story. One day, a light bulb just went off over my head. I got it, and once I got that, everything else made sense, and I'm like, I couldn't tell you what it was now. I couldn't do it now, but. And so, and she's like, "Well, that's amazing. So what I've decided to do with you is I'm throwing out the entire first half of the class, and I'm going to base your grade on everything you did once you got that first A onwards." And I'm like, "You're kidding me," because I was looking at like probably a C in math or something like that. And it turned around and bite me in the ass later. But anyway, so I got 100 and something on the final, and I wound up with an A or an A plus in math. And so I have to, once a year, America, you had to go visit your counselor, whatever they're called, the guy that's ahead of your department, and blah, blah. So I get an appointment, I knock on his door, I go to see him, and he looks at my thing and goes, You got an A plus in math. You're getting like B's and C's in literature, yet you're a literature major. Are you sure you're in the right department? I'm like, yes. He was trying to get me to. I'm like, no. I'm like, and I told him the story that I was failing, and she dropped the first half of my thing, and no, I'm awful at math, and no, I'm in the right place. And that's why it bit me in the butt, because he's trying to get me to change my major to math. I'm like, no, God, I hate math. No.
Now, I did get 2 other letters in high school, and I'm so glad that I got them because they're the letters that I really felt that I deserved. Um, One of them was for that Renaissance student government thing that I did, and that was a miracle because I remember because this was like in my junior year. Now, normally they don't give letters out to the junior people, but my teacher made an exception for me because one day I was doing something for class, and the difference between the student government class that I was doing, um, student government, and the Renaissance thing that I was doing. Renaissance, we worked on academics. We worked on highlighting students that excelled in academics, from getting honor roll and getting all these other kind of things, and even like ones that are like like getting like going to be transferring to big colleges afterwards and stuff like that. Um, so I was getting ready to do something else because I did PR for the thing. I was great at journalism. But what happened was one day I stood up and then I blacked out. Apparently I fainted in class. All I remember from that blackout was waking up in my bed at home, and so I lost a few hours of my life that day. And and I asked my grandmother, like, what happened? Is like, you fainted in class. You and I went back to school like the next week because they said like, just take a week off. And so I went and they said, I asked them like, what happened to me? Like, well, you fainted between two tables, and a couple of students had to take you to the nurse's nurse's office, so like, fuck. Um, and so I was like, oh my god, that's gonna ruin any chance of me getting a letter. But then my teacher told me she was transferring out to Oceanside, which is like a San Diego city, and like I wanted to award you before I left. I want to make sure you got a letter in the class. So she did. So that's how I got my letter in that thing. Now for the third letter was like the most important one because that's the letter that I was aiming for even before I went into high school, and that was for music. Because I remember before I went into high school, the jazz band came to my middle school and they performed for us, and I loved hearing them, because it was the first time ever seeing a girl playing bass, and that was to me that was like the hottest thing in the world, seeing a girl play the bass guitar. Um, and um, and so I was like, I want to do that. I want to be in this class. I want to play bass, and everything. But then before my freshman year started, the teacher that was doing the program, he was like, I cannot allow you to be in this thing. I was like, why? Because you do not read music. And I was like, I could learn. I was like, yeah, you could learn, but I cannot teach you that. You need to learn. You need to know that beforehand. So I cannot do this. But then I think a year later, that teacher ended up leaving, and they got like a new teacher in. And then that teacher was like, yeah, I'll teach you how to read music and everything. Come and join the class. But I couldn't join as a bass player because my friend Richard was playing bass, so I ended up playing guitar. Um, and so I did that music program from my half of my sophomore year all the way into my senior year. And what happened was the whole ceremonies were happening at the end of my senior year. Sadly, I didn't get the letter that I wanted for music, and I left high school feeling like a fucking failure and stuff. And so I got depressed, and I ended up gaining weight, because I stressed eat, like my depression and stuff. And so the next time that I saw my music teacher, I was doing something for them because my friend Brad was recording the choir. And so we went to his studio to record a choir. I was a co-producer on those sessions. And the teacher was like, "What? How did you gain weight so fast? You were just a skinny thing when I saw you. Now you're a bit bigger. What happened?" I was like, "Well, I got depressed." I was like, "Why you got depressed?" Because I failed at school. It's like, "What do you mean you failed at school? You graduated." I was like, "Yeah, I graduated, but I wanted to graduate with a letter in math, and I didn't, and so I felt like a failure." And he was like, "You did graduate with a letter in music." I was like, "No, I didn't." He was like, "I forgot to invite you to the ceremony. And so come to my office tomorrow. I'll get you your letter and your certificate." And there it was. It was even dated, when it happened. And I was like, this was important to me. I can't believe you forgot to invite me to the ceremony. And I was crying. I was like, I felt like a failure, like after high school.
He didn't have your address. He couldn't have sent it to you. I don't.
Somehow it got lost in the shuffle of sending things out to people and stuff. So,
I want to answer Dan's question real quick. Kokomo.
I said this song.
There you go.
Kokomo.
Kokomo.
Okay, I think I'm gonna run the stream until like 12 o'clock because my congestion is starting to get to me. So we're gonna run it until 12. So you guys have another hour or two.
It's
We have another hour to torture you? We have another hour to torture you, Lisa?
No, I usually would run it longer, but today I'm just like,
I think everybody is like sick right now. It's like, my daughter's sick. I haven't gotten sick, but I mean, you're sick. I mean,
I'm not sick, but it's also allergy season, so sometimes it might.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna be. My doctor has recommended that.
Big time. I mean, I'm a little stuffy, but it's
I just thought I'd tell you ahead of time.
Dan said, "Ever caught a baseball at a game?" I have caught a lot of baseballs at games. I don't think I've caught any like major, milestone baseballs, but I've caught a couple of. I've never caught a home run. I've caught foul balls. I've been tossed. I've gotten a lot of toss ups, from different baseball players. Like I know that I have baseballs from back when the American League was the American League and the National League was the National League, and they were completely separate, and they had two different baseballs for them, as opposed to being like just one Major League Baseball now.
I think they should be separate. I don't like that. I don't like that now. I haven't followed baseball in a while. Didn't the National League now adopt the designated hitter?
Yep. They adopted designated hitter. It's been kind of like, I mean, with the cross, I mean, they play each other now, so it's like they're all playing each other so much now. It's like if you played before, it was like if you played in American League Stadium, then you had the designated hitter. If you played in the National League Stadium, then you didn't have it.
I didn't like.
But,
see, back they didn't start that till sometime in the 2000s. But when I was a kid growing up watching baseball, American League team didn't play a National League team except for an exhibition game here and there, maybe until the World Series, and that's the way it should be. Because it's supposed to be the superiority of the leagues. If you make it one league and you're playing each other constantly, I mean, if the two World Series teams are teams that have played against each other already that season, that you already know the outcome pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like it's a superiority thing, and I hated interleague play because. Because the American League pitcher would have to hit if they're playing in a National League. This should not count on your stats because you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
Got one automatic out every 3 innings at least for if you're the American League team.
I mean, the thing that I used to like about there being two different. The American League and the National League being separate is that you had two different commissioners. And when you had two different commissioners, it felt like you had one commissioner to hold the other commissioner accountable. Like they held each other accountable, and they weren't really able to make decisions. Like Manfred now, he's the sole, commissioner. He can make whatever decisions he wants, and that's it. Like I said before, it's like one of them could make a decision, but the other one could say, "No, I don't like that. No, I don't think so." So it's like, yeah.
And I don't like all the changes that and these are probably 10 years old now, but I don't like that I forget if they raised or lowered the mound and everything to try to get more hits, make the game more exciting. No, the game is what it is, and I don't like baseball anymore. Basically, I think. I mean, I don't like pitch count. Pitch count, I think, is the worst thing to happen to baseball in its history.
I mean, to tell you the truth, the balls are juiced now. They've been juiced for years. When they were probably they've toned them down a little bit recently, but during McGuire's home run, run, and the Sammy Sosa thing, those balls were juiced. I know they're going to say steroids, whatever else. Yeah, but the balls were juiced too. They were like so freaking light, and they were designed for flight, so they would go ahead and.
The other thing I don't like is now I've probably lost it. They've taken on. I think one of the most exciting things about baseball is the possibility of a no-hitter or a perfect game, and they basically just about taken that away from baseball.
Yeah,
that's one of the fundamental. That's every pitcher's dream is to have a no-hitter or a perfect game, even more. And they just about taken that away. They haven't, because if you don't have that many pitchers if you've got a no-hitter, or a perfect game. But a no-hitter, you can still throw enough pitches where you're probably not going to get taken out, but you could, and it's right, and if you're having a great game, to take somebody out of a great game to put in another pitcher just to save their opponent for next, I don't like that. It's not.
Yeah, being that because me, it's like I've coached or I've managed quite a few just baseball teams, like over time, because I used to coach my son's team, Pony, which they played by MLB rules. Then I also coached my son's California Youth, not California Youth Authority, but it's California Youth Baseball, CYBA. They played strictly by MLB rules. And then also I managed his Sunday ball team, which plays strictly by MLB rules. So they would try and do the same thing. They would try and let us have bullpens where they got to a point where they wanted us to fill out like a matrix thing, where we were only using our pitchers for so many innings, and stuff like that. And I was like, I was completely stupid. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play this by these MLB rules where, I'm not going to let them throw over so many pitches. If they feel good, I go out there and I'm like, you know what? You feel good? Yeah. Do you feel good? Yeah, I feel good. You want to go another inning? Yeah, I want to go another inning. Well, then go another fucking inning then, I would let them do it, And it's like, nowadays, none of these pitchers nowadays in Major League Baseball, none of them can get complete games. None of them can, because they want to pull them right away.
That really, really bothers me. And the other thing is, back when I started watching baseball when I was a kid, I was a big Yankees fan. And, a pitcher's having a rough time or whatever. Billy Martin would go out to the mound and he'd talk to him. And then he'd come back. You never see a coach do that anymore, or a manager do that. Oh, no.
Anymore. When the manager comes out, that means you're getting pulled.
Now the pitcher's out of there. There's no talking to the pitcher. There's no discussion. When I was, when I was a kid, there'd be 2 or 3 discussions, before they get the pitcher out,
Well, now they limit the amount of mound visits. That's one.
Yeah.
They end up setting it up now where the pitching coach will go out. If the pitching coach goes out, okay, he's staying in. Okay, you see the pitching coach coming out? Okay, he's staying in. Once the manager comes out, he's fucking gone. See, right away.
That's again, absolutely ridiculous.
Dan's in Seattle. There you go.
Where would Nolan Ryan be if he was playing by the rules that they have today. There'd be no Nolan Ryan award.
They don't. I mean, the greats like Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan. I mean, all those guys. They freaking Gaylord Perry. Those guys pitched. You know, those guys pitched. You know, they worked their arms. And it's like these new guys. It's like they come in for 4 innings.
Look at who held the home run thing for till what 1972 or whatever.
Roger, what's his name? Roger Maris? No.
Why can't I think of his name?
Ted Williams? No.
Wait, say what was it? What year did you say, Tim?
No, till like 72. Babe Ruth. And Babe Ruth was a pitcher, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy, not only is he pitching and completing games and everything, he's pitching because nobody talks about it, but he was a decent pitcher. You know, he not only that, he's also batting and has the home run record, a pitcher. Imagine that today.
Well, I mean, like they were saying that Ohtani was supposed to be the next Babe Ruth because he was a pitcher and a hitter, but he fucking blew his arm out and he had to get Tommy John surgery, so he's not pitching right now. So there's no way they can really compare him to Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth did both, and he didn't have to stop and get Tommy John surgery.
Well,
and a lot of people say that.
Like you said, they changed the baseballs and blah blah blah, and they by changing the baseballs, now they're making the pitchers throw way harder and ruin their arms and everything. And if they just would have left it alone,
yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, one of the things that they do now is me myself personally, I've never let one of my pitchers use it, and all the time I've been managing or I coach, is I don't let them use these weighted baseballs. I hate them, you know. And it's what you see a lot of these kids come out. That these parents go out and they end up listening to these freaking because every parent you have out there thinks that they got the next fucking MLB All-Star, and especially out here in Orange County, we have a lot of parents who have a lot of money, and they want to just get their kid involved in, having this coach, this coach who is a major league player, and there's one guy out here. Oh my God. I don't know if there's any Angel fans in the chat or any of them know. What's his name? What was the name of him? Clyde something. I forgot his last name, but he pitched for the Angels for like 10 years, and he runs a camp out here where he trains pitchers. And I don't know what it is about that guy. Me and that guy have personally, gotten into shit with each other, because I've gotten so many kids that have gone to, the pony, the local pony league here, who are students of his, and then they play for my team. And then they come up to me and they're like, oh, well, my son can't do this and he can't do that because Clyde said he can't, because, they're trying to train him. I'm like, well, why the fuck is your son playing for my team then? If he doesn't want to come here and pitch, and participate and try and win, what are you bringing him here for? Is he a glory hound? Because basically what you're doing is you're saying your son's a prima donna and he's a glory hound. Oh, well, Clyde said that my son should be using this weighted ball for his warm-ups, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? Your son is 12 years old. Your son's arm is just barely developing. He's barely learning how to throw a ball. And you've already got your son at 12 years old trying to throw curveballs and sliders and everything else. I'm like, your son's arm's going to be shit by the time he hits high school. I feel like telling them, I'm like, you're teaching them how to throw curves, sliders. I said, by the time your kid comes to freshman year and he decides he's going to go play baseball for JV, his arm's going to be shit. He's going to have a fucking spaghetti noodle for a fucking arm. And I think a lot of these people do not even fucking listen. They don't. They're just, oh, well, you know what? You didn't play for the Angels for 10 years, so you don't know. I'm like, no, but I've been coaching baseball and been playing baseball my whole fucking life.
We couldn't be a coach. Because if I had a parent do that to me, I'd go, okay, understood. And guess what? That kid is sitting on the bench for the entire season. He's not playing in one game. You're still paying. You're still paying mom and dad. You're still paying, but this kid isn't playing at all.
Yeah, well, I had this one dad who got really, really freaking pissed off at me, because this was probably one of the last years that I did pony. One of the last years that my son was playing pony. So I only coached as long as my son was there. And there was this one kid, I don't even remember who his name was, but oh my God, his dad was same thing. He had him training with that guy, Clyde, whatever the fuck his name was, and he would sit there he would stand behind the backstop. And I had told his son, I don't want to see curveballs. I don't want to see curveballs. You're too young for him. And, I don't want to see him. Because the guy, I feel like that guy, the coach in fucking Little Big League, where he's like, I don't like your curveball. You know why? Because the goddamn thing don't fucking curve. You know, that's the way I feel. It's like you're trying to throw a curveball, you're making all the motions with your arm, but you're getting no fucking break on the ball. You know, you're not impressing me. So he had a signal with his son where he would sit there behind the thing and he would do a signal for his son to throw a curveball. You know, and I was starting to get pissed off because then finally when the balls did start fucking curving, he had no control over them. And then what he was doing is he was making my catcher cross his legs over to stop the ball. So my catcher is busting his knees all up trying to catch his kid's shitty curve. You know, so I had to go back there and tell him, hey, would you do me a favor and not be back there telling your son to throw curveballs? Because you know what? It's not just his arm he's going to scope. He's going to hurt my catcher, his knees. You know, my catcher's trying to cross himself over to stop the ball and make sure it doesn't hit the backstop. You know, and he's like, oh, well, I wasn't telling about it. I'm like, come on now, man. Every time you turn and you make the stupid movement towards your head, he turns around, the ball's going in the dirt. I know what the fuck you're doing, dude. I'm not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. You know, I'm like, come on now. But yeah, parents are just, I mean, yeah, I can't do it anymore. Like, that's the reason why, like, my son, when he moved to Arizona and I no longer had to do Sunday ball, I was like, I'm done. I was done. I want to go watch a ball game. I don't want to participate in the ball game anymore.
I suck at baseball. Because when we were in high school and elementary school, they had us play sports, and I couldn't hit the ball, so I never got picked.
I was awful. I hated it. I played T-ball one year, and then I played regular non-T-ball one year. I was probably 6 or 7 or something. Yeah, I was really young. And they bought us, for one thing, we had these team shirts, and they made a mistake, and they bought us men's sizes instead of... So I'm this little teeny guy. My shirt literally goes down halfway between my knee and my foot. This is how big it is. I got to tuck this wad of stuff into. I felt like an idiot every time I had to play baseball, and I was such a bad hitter. I broke a tee once in t-ball, and they had to go get another tee, and all the parents were glaring at me and everything because bats were heavy. I was a tiny little kid. I was literally. Yeah. I probably weighed 35 pounds at most when I started playing baseball. I was a tiny little kid. I could barely hold a bat. They didn't have any small bats. They only had adult bats. And,
me is
so
like
anyway, I broke the tee, and they had to go get a new tee. But anyway, when I graduated to regular baseball the next year, we'd practice, and I was so bad. My coach, who owned a gas station near my house, a friend of school's father, wouldn't even let me hit. So here's what I want you to do. When you're up there, you crouch down as low as you can get. You give them about a 6-inch strike zone, and you're going to walk. And I was not allowed. I was thrown out in, I was thrown out in right field to swat flies, and I wasn't allowed to hit baseball. Because no 7-year-old kid hits the right field. None, So I'm over in right field, and I'm crouching down, walking. If I'm lucky, I walk. I wasn't allowed to swing the bat ever. And that strategy worked because my baseball team made it to the playoffs. You never saw an angrier 7-year-old kid than when your baseball team made it to the playoffs. I'm like, God damn it, I got to do more. I was pissed. We didn't win, I don't think. I think we did make it to the final, though. I think we did the final game, and then we lost. But I was like, I told my mother, I'm not going. And my brother wasn't much happier. Neither of us went back the next year. We're like,
I got your answer, Dan. I got your answer. That's a
pineapple.
Pineapple and ham.
I like ham. I don't like pineapple, but I do like ham. Like Canadian
bacon.
Ham. Canadian bacon. There you go.
But
I remember
question that I missed.
Best pizza toppings, wrong answers only.
Oh, and olives too.
Well, I actually like Hawaiian pizza, which is pineapple and ham. It's one of my favorite pizzas, actually. Sorry.
Anyone interested in a comparison of an $80 versus a $500,000 turntable? Guess which one More people preferred. Sounds interesting.
I'm guessing more people. Well, the $80
Well,
one is more
if you
accessible
just
to people.
if you if you're just talking to normal people like an
Mhm.
automatic turntable. So I'm guessing they like the cheap.
I got one in the back. You can't really see it, but I got one in the back.
You know, let me see here.
Sorry if I'm not talking too much tonight. I'm trying to not, over exaggerate my voice. It's a good thing. You're like, Lisa, you should be sick more often.
Oh, home theater geeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember my son's friend. His name was Brandon, and I always used to stick him in right field because his glove was just like he caught everything that came his way all the time. But he hated playing right field because he had it instilled in his brain while you stick the shitty kid in right field.
Well, yeah.
So I was like, no, that's not what we're doing. And I was trying to explain to him. I said, we have so and so pitching, and he pitches hard. He throws like in the high 80s, to low 90. He throws in the high 80s to low 90s. So everything these hitters aren't able to catch up to him. So everything they're hitting late.
Yeah.
And when they hit late, that means it's going to right field. So I need you there. That's the reason why. So when he pitches and he's throwing the fastball, and these guys go for it, and they make contact. It's going to right because they're not swinging, getting all of it. But he didn't understand that. He was like, "Oh, right field's just where they stick the shitty kids." I'm on now.
That makes sense. But like I said, when you're 7 or 8 or however old I was, nobody's hitting the right field unless you got a left-handed batter. Nobody's hitting the right field.
Yeah.
So there I am swatting flies. So that was my baseball career: crouching and swatting at flies. That's it. I don't think a ball ever came to me in my entire, maybe a ground ball once or twice, but I hated baseball. and this man, I'm not going to say his name, but ruined baseball for me. Basically, I loved playing it later in high school and stuff, just with friends and stuff. I love that, but organized baseball.
Yeah, Dan. Actually, yeah, I'm an Angels fan. I am an Angels fan. I was raised a Dodgers fan, but yeah, I became an Angels fan. I'm an Angels fan. I've been an Angels fan for years and years and years. Well, even when I was young, even though they took me only to Dodger Stadium, and maybe the only time when I was a kid, my grandfather, who was really into baseball, I mean, by the time I was able to pick up a baseball, he had me playing ball because he worked for Ford for his whole life, and he used to play on all the Ford factory teams. So he played baseball his whole life, and he really knew the game. And so by the time I was old enough to pick a baseball up, and he knew I could throw it, he had me involved in baseball, even against my dad's wishes. My dad really didn't want me in baseball.
Yeah.
But he pushed, no, my grandson's going to play ball. I'll pay for it. And so he always had me playing ball. But yeah, so I grew up a Dodgers fan. The only time we went to Angel Stadium was if a team at that time, like me and Tim were talking about, there was a separate American League and National League. So if there was a team that we never got to see, like the Yankees or, some of these other like American League teams that we just never got to see, we would go to an Angel game. So like, oh, the Yankees are coming to town, so we're going to the Angels, stadium. We're going to Angel Stadium to see the Yankees. Otherwise we were at Dodger Stadium all the time.
I get a lot of shit.
Lisa, you are not a Dodgers fan. You don't even freaking know their roster. You don't know anything about them. You just I
don't care.
You had a boyfriend who used to wear a Dodgers hat, so you're a Dodger fan.
Hey,
that's where your Dodger fandom comes from.
I've been a Dodger fan before that.
Once again, I will say, have you done your research? Who plays first base for the Dodgers right now?
I don't know who plays first base for the Angels.
That's actually that's a hard question.
You see?
That's a hard question. No, because it's rotated so much. It's rotated so much. The Angels' first base is like rotated so much. Like who knows who's playing any given time. It's like I even know who the Dodgers' first baseman Freeman is before I know who the Angels' first baseman is right now. So.
To answer your question,
hold on, I'll be right back.
I don't watch hockey. But if I had to pick a team, just for sake of picking a team, I'll probably pick the Kings. Yeah. I was looking up who did the most home runs, and number 1 is Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds with 700.
Yeah, but he was
700. and
But,
62.
I mean, Babe Ruth held the record for
Yeah,
years
and then
and years
number
and
two,
years.
number two is Hank Aaron,
Yeah,
and number three is Babe Ruth.
Hank Aaron held it till, they're the only
Yeah.
three that have ever really held it.
And I'm
Okay, hold on back.
surprised. I'm surprised number five is Alex Rodriguez. I didn't know he hit that many home runs.
Sandy Koufax. Sandy Koufax was like my grandfather's man. Number 32, Sandy Koufax. He was I don't know. He was never a Brooklyn Dodger, was he? I think he was only strictly when the Dodgers came to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I don't think he was ever a Brooklyn Dodger.
My
That's
dad
the other
was-
thing I don't like about
Mhm.
baseball.
What?
When I was a kid, until you got
hmm
old and you started getting really bad, you were
Mhm.
on a team and that was it. That was it. They didn't
Yeah.
do all these trades. They didn't,
Uh-huh.
like when I grew up, when I first learned the Yankees roster, that roster stayed the same forever. It would change a little bit postseason. They'd get a new player or two, and somebody would retire. Somebody would get old, and they'd trade
Yeah.
them. They get it, but it wasn't like today when your team could change 10 times in a season. It wasn't. A player was identified with a team.
Well,
You
yeah,
know.
but a lot of people would say that the reason why that had to change though is because basically the players were basically like servants to the owners. Basically, it's like they were like in servitude, basically, almost like I won't say slave, but they were
I'm
like
sorry, but no athlete deserves the
Mhm.
amount of money they get. So I can't side with the athletes.
Well,
I
yeah,
know,
I
I
mean,
know
yeah.
the teams were making a lot of money. They're not
Mhm.
making nearly as much now as they were at one point. But I can't see people whining. Geez, I only made $8 million last year. I should be
Mhm.
making more. I can't get behind that. I'm sorry. The best player, Babe Ruth, was lucky if he was making $50 a week.
Yeah. There's this
Yeah.
guy who's on YouTube. I forgot the name of his channel is, but see what it basically is right now at this point. I don't know if it's still today. Maybe it's more now, but I know come around probably 1999, year 2000, somewhere around there. It was the average Major League Baseball player made minimum $3 million. $3 million a year, minimum, which is a shitload of fucking money. A shitload of money just to play baseball. So even if that's on the smallest scale, so that means your everyday MLB player who they could be shitty as shit, they're making $3 million. So you spend a couple of years just bouncing around the MLB from this team to that team to this team, you can retire with a nice little package. You know what I mean? You can retire probably like, 6, 7, 8, 9 million, So this guy, but when you're in the minors, you don't make shit. You even pay for your own equipment and shit like that. So this guy actually had a YouTube channel with him and his wife where they documented his journey through the minors and how him and his wife had to travel here, and then they trade him and he had to travel over here, and then they trade him. And it's like, and his wife going through the whole thing where she's like, we keep everything in bags, we keep everything like this because we never know when they're going to tell him he has to go here, and we have to pack everything up. It's like we don't really have a home, right now and stuff. And finally, towards the end of like their YouTube run, he finally got his contract with the Rangers, and he ended up making the $3 million where they were going to be able to buy the house. And even if he got traded the next year, it didn't matter. They could buy the house and they could be steady, and he could go ahead and bounce all over the place. At least they would have their home, and he'd be making $3 million here, $3 million there, whatever. So yeah, it was an interesting channel. It was like to watch their journey the whole way, that he went, with it and stuff. Shows you what's going on with a major league player. There's another guy whose name is Matt Antonelli. He played for the San Diego Padres for maybe 2 years. And same thing. He tells you his whole story of him coming up, and he gives you questions like if you ask, how do MLB players get paid? Tell you, they get paid once every 2 weeks on this, and they end up getting this step in. And he'll tell you like all these different things. Or he'll turn around and say, okay, how do they get their baseball bats? He says, well, if you're a regular baseball player, sometimes you'll get Rawlings, or you get some of these other baseball companies will come up to you and say, do you need bats? Do you need gloves? Okay, we're going to go ahead and give you gloves and bats, but you're going to be exclusively to us, and this is all you're going to be able to use is our stuff. And they sign you to contracts and stuff like that. So it's like he tells you all the ins and outs, like those little things that we don't get to hear about. Is Matt Antonelli for Antonelli Baseball. So NHL players minimum is $675,000. That's not a whole lot.
And, you know,
I mean, it's a lot.
Of all the sports, I guess I get football the most as far as making a lot of money because
Yeah.
you're a lot of if you do the whole run, you know, if you have a 15-year career or a 20-year career, whatever you can have in football is, your body's pretty shot when you're done. Okay, you've given your body. I get it for that, but baseball is just hitting a bat and running around some bases. You know, you spend half the game sitting on a bench. You know,
like right now, we got this guy.
After baseball, you can go do anything you could have done before baseball. There's nothing you can't do once you're out of baseball that you couldn't have done before baseball. You know, so it's just too much money. I don't. You know.
How much is his contract for?
That's what got me out of baseball. I was a diehard baseball fan. The first strike really. I did wind up going back, but the second strike, I never fully went back after that. I'm like, I can't get behind either side. Both sides make too much money. And baseball teams are stupid. Baseball teams could make a lot more money. They lowered ticket prices to an affordable rate and filled the stands. Period. They can make it up in refreshments and television because people don't want to watch a baseball game with 150 people in a stands that will fill 20,000, you know. But if the stands are full, it looks like your team is good and more people are going to watch the game. And you're going to make more money that way. So I always said, you know, the smartest thing any team could do is fill the stands. However you got to do it. Fill your stands up.
Like right now, we have this one guy who is playing for the Angels. His name is Anthony Rendon. He used to play for the Washington Nationals along with Freeman, who plays first base for the Dodgers. They won a championship for the Washington Nationals in 2019, I think it was, or 2018. 18 or something like that. I forgot what year. 17, 18, 19, one of the 3 years. Anyways, Los Angeles Angels signed him in 2019 at the end. They signed him to a 7-year, $245 million contract. On this 7-year contract, Tim, he has only played like so many games because he's always freaking hurt, but he's getting full paydays.
Yeah, exactly.
So he hardly works. So the thing is that he's gotten into confrontations with fans at the stadium before. Like he gets into like physical fights because the guy's a hothead. He cannot control himself. But the thing is that fans are starting to get fed up with it because we go to the stadium. This guy's getting paid all this money. Well, where does that money come from? It comes from the fans' pockets. So they charge us more for soda, for beer, for popcorn, for whatever. And this guy's not producing. We're paying for him. You know, so of course all of us get shitty with him when we talk shit to him and they talk shit back to us and he gets in all these confrontations and stuff. Me, myself, I've always said, sock me. Go ahead, please. Please hit me. I need the money. You know, like, please hit me. An easy couple of mil, I'll take a punch and sock to the mouth. You know? I'm like
This is the problem with all professional sports, which is why I don't really watch them anymore. They all make too much money, way too much money. And you know, and I don't care if the teams don't say, well, the teams make money, so you know, yeah, but you know, Walmart makes like $10 billion a year, but you know, I only make minimum wage when I work there. It's the same thing in sports. I'm sorry, it's a job.
Yeah.
You know,
Dan said, Dust, are you sad to see the A's go to Vegas? No, I'm not. The A's, to tell you the truth, deserve to go to Vegas. They're getting a brand new stadium. You know, the fan base, okay, it's sad for the real hardcore fans, but their fan base, let's put it this way, their fan base was, the hardcore fans were not that big. They were not big enough to keep them going, for one. And then also the stadium, didn't want to do any repairs. The city didn't want to help them build a new stadium. They didn't want to do nothing for them. So that move to Vegas, is great for them. I remember back in the day, my grandfather used to say all the time, well, Vegas will never have a professional team because of the gambling. What does it matter? Even with the teams not being in Vegas, people gamble on them. I remember when I went to Vegas the last time.
It's legal now anyway, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can gamble, on your phone now.
yeah, I know.
And the MLB promotes it. The draft, it'll say blah blah blah, place your bet, da da da, with so and so, da da da, paid sponsor, of MLB, blah blah blah, whatever, So you can go ahead and bet on it.
They're getting a dome. In Vegas.
Yeah, and I remember
picture them out there on 115-degree heat playing baseball.
It's going to be horrible. It's the Raiders are surviving.
This is what I'm saying. I'm
Nobody
assuming
cares
it's
about
a
the
dome
Raiders.
and it will be at least slightly air conditioned. It won't be 115 in there, I doubt. I mean,
there's teams that nobody cares
because
about.
if
the
it's
Raiders.
not, they're not going to get any people to come either. That's the other thing. If it's outside, you're not going to get.
Oh, we forgot Lisa's a Patriots fan.
Look, nobody cares about the Patriots either. They're not doing good. There's teams that nobody really cares about. The Patriots is one of them. The Raiders.
Well,
the Browns.
if they spent more time playing than cheating,
Chargers,
people might like
the
them
Chargers. The Chargers are not doing that great.
The Chargers. I mean, I think
They're
the Chargers just should have never moved. They should have stayed in San Diego.
They should have, because because we got the LA Rams, which is better than the Chargers.
I wouldn't say they're better, but I mean, they came out here to play second fiddle. They shouldn't have done that. They should have said, "Fuck no, we're not coming out there to play second fiddle."
I mean, my dad is like so obsessed with Patrick Mahomes.
Wonder if the A's ballpark gets turned into condos or high rises. I don't know. They're trying. I mean, Oakland A's fans are trying to hold out hope that they're going to try and attract another team. It's not going to happen.
Who's gonna move there?
happen.
The Dodgers.
And it's like if they were gonna were they gonna build a big state? If they were gonna build a big stadium, they would have built it for the Oakland A's. Why would they build it for another team to come in?
No.
I'm gonna tell you one team that's gonna be on the move, and I predict in the next 5 years, the Angels are moving.
To where? LA.
I don't know. I don't know where they're moving, but they will be moving. If Artie Moreno stays owner, they're gonna move. They're gonna have to, because I mean, for one thing, he just sees the Angels as a, well, I mean, I understand you return on investment is making money, but he's too obsessed with just the money factor. He doesn't give a shit about the fans. He doesn't give a shit about the experience or anything, for the fan. So it's like, and I know that Artie Moreno is like totally trying to chase what the Dodgers are doing, but he just, the Dodgers are owned by like a partnership, by a group. So there's like unlimited money there for them to go out and get whatever player they want. Yeah. And if they hit the luxury tax, they don't give a shit. We'll hit the luxury tax. They don't give a shit. What? You're going to ding us how much? Yeah. Magic Johnson will write a check. He don't give a shit. So it's like, yeah, so it's like, he don't give a shit. But the Angels can't afford it like that. They ain't got it like that. They do not have it like that.
I mean, we already got 2 teams in. No, wait. We got 1 team in LA. They could possibly move to LA.
We have the Dodgers. They say the Angels are Los Angeles, but they are not. They're like, they should still go back to California Angels. Either the California Angels or, the Anaheim Angels. Either or. They should be either or. They should not be.
I vote California. California.
Yeah.
You think they'd move to another state?
I sadly think that they probably will. I mean, I was kind of excited because over here in the city I live in, there was a big rumor, especially after Irvine Meadows Amphitheater got closed down.
Yeah.
That they were there's a huge lot which is over here, on the corner of Red Hill and Edinger, Arvon Carmen, huge lot, and I mean they even had like Artie Moreno out there driving around, having all the reporters take pictures of him out there. He was trying to push the city of Anaheim into making a deal with him for a new stadium. Because he went, oh, well, I can go to this smaller city, which is the city I live in. He was like, we can go there, and that city will go ahead and take us. They're going to go ahead and they want to build a big complex. They want to build a stadium for the Angels. They want to build a new complex for concerts and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, me and my family, we were just looking at going like, oh, my God, what's going to happen? It's like, look at how adjacent it is to the freeway. Yeah. What's going to happen on concert nights? What's going to happen on game nights, it's going to be backed up where we're not going to be able to like get into our freaking complex or whatever. It's going to be backed up that much, you know, going from the freeway to the stadium to the venue or whatever, you know, just ridiculous. But yeah, are the Mariners toast too with their shitty owners? I don't know. I mean, the Mariners have a pretty faithful like fan base, though. I mean, I think the Mariners are in a better position than we are, you know, definitely. You know, I mean, most definitely. I mean, we have a lot of the fan base has like fallen off this year. And I wonder if it's like a major league situation where it's like, well, if they lose so many games, we can sell the team or we could do this, because that's what it looked like. We lost like 99 games this year. That's fucking horrible. You know,
That's terrible.
Yeah, that is horrible.
Yeah.
You know, that is like what. There's this guy that I watch and I freaking love him to death. The one I told you who does the Stamos Award every night. He's called Halos in the Infield. Halos in the Infield. He does a freaking stream every night, a live stream. And that guy just yells and screams, and he just like lays it out. And there's nothing but Angel fans, and they're just talking shit. I love that channel, you know, stuff like that. But he'll do like if an Angel actually does something right, he'll be like, they get the Stamos Award, and I'll be like, it's John Stamos, and like, oh, you know, like if they get a hit or whatever, they get the Stamos Award tonight. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Like this season, I don't think I even, you know, I didn't even bother. You know, it was like. I stopped following at the end. I wasn't even following at all. Like right now, I'm watching the Dodgers, you know, in the postseason. You know, I don't know, but I don't know if I'm going to be rooting for the Dodgers. I'm watching them. It doesn't mean I'm rooting for them. It's just the baseball's on, and it's kind of exciting. You know, because Lisa, stop. The Dodgers, the last time they won a championship, I'm sorry, it was during COVID. It was a 60-game season. It doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
We all know that. We all know that. I'm not dumb. I know that.
It was a 60-game season, and they were playing in front of cardboard cutouts, so it doesn't count.
Well, they should have taken my suggestion. It would have made it more interesting. I think every stadium should have had chairs throughout the stadium where balls are likely to go in the stands, and had like a robotic arm with a glove on it, and if the ball comes its way, somebody in the control room hits a button and the arm goes up. And if an arm catches a ball, they donate like $10,000 to some charity or something.
That would have been exciting. That would have been an element.
It would have been like people are really in the game. You know, you're watching the fan. The give a place to the camera to go. The arm goes up, glove goes into the glove. You know, they just, you know, that something like that they should have done. It probably wouldn't have happened, but it would still be exciting to watch.
You know what I kind of liked is how the NBA did it. I mean, the NBA, tell you the truth, during the pandemic, the NBA did everything right. You know, the way that they handled, you know, quarantines and, you know, the bubble. I mean, the NBA, come on, they did it right. We know they did. But, you know, I like the way that they had the fan interactions where you actually had your webcam and you'd be able to like be like this, and they would have them all along the sides. Like they had these huge screens along the sides of the court. But the thing that was scary about that is like,
Penn and Teller's show, they did a similar thing.
Oh, did they?
They had people at home watching live when they were taping it, like piped in. I don't know how they did it, but so they had an audience that was actually watching the show, but they were at home. So it looked like a real audience. If you didn't look carefully, you'd think there was an audience there, but there wasn't. The way the monitors and everything were, it looked like a real audience was there. It was just people sitting in their houses watching it. I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, the thing that I thought was so hilarious was like, I mean, you would think with all these webcams that they had along the sides, it's like they had to be careful. Like, what if somebody decided to flash their boobs or something? What was going to stop them from that being seen on national TV? You know, I don't know what kind of restrictions they have.
It's not live, is it? There's always a delay, like 30 seconds or whatever it is. So you got time to bloop it out, and you got time.
Because that's what I was kind of like going, well, what if somebody decided they were having a wild night on their wild webcam, you know?
TV's never live. Radio's not live anymore either.
They'll need to have someone there to shut things off, and then
Uh-huh.
it'll go to Mason, and he'll be like, "I just like to tell everybody just press to play,
Press to play.
and I got."
That's what I would do. I would have a little
Mhm.
press to play that I could move around the screen and somebody flash the music, press to play over it. There we go. That's
No.
Yeah, I'm really kind of curious how this like thing's gonna start moving with like the with the live streams. I mean, is YouTube gonna start like trying to crack down on some of this shit, or what
No,
about
you-
these trolls and stuff? Or
Yeah.
I've come up with solutions. They'll never do anything like that. It's all about views, and views means money for them. Views means ad revenue. They don't care. They don't care if it's axe murderers watching. As long as you're watching, they don't care what your behavior is, what you do.
I'm
They can give a
surprised.
crap. It doesn't affect them.
I'm surprised YouTube doesn't have their own version of StreamYard yet.
the thing that I'm wondering is, I'm wondering how they're, because they haven't done anything about like when we try and circumvent and get the donos behind their backs, stuff like that. Because I know that YouTube has it where when they monetize their channel, people can click and they can pay you. But the thing is that YouTube turns around and holds your money in a hostage, and then they let you have a little bit at a time, if that and stuff, and you have to jump through hoops. But but if people put that Venmo link up, like I'm gonna start doing, the Venmo link up, they could go ahead and they could pay you directly. It's like that money goes straight in your bank account. And I'm wondering, and that means that like YouTube doesn't get any percentage of it, because I mean they take a percentage of your money.
Eventually they might. Because there are people that don't want to do that too. There are people that just want to pay on YouTube or whatever. But YouTube they need to change their attitude. I know they're a corporation and corporations never will, but they need to be more like Twitch or something. Just everybody should know who everybody is on YouTube. You should have multiple accounts. You should have one account. They should know who you are, and then they can get rid of you if you're a bad person. That'll never happen, but it's other platforms do it. YouTube shouldn't do it. You shouldn't be able to come on here anonymously and just bully people. Basically, because bullying has become a crime now. Okay, you could go to jail for bullying. Well, what's the difference if you're bullying people on YouTube? There's no difference. They're committing a crime. There's absolutely no difference.
Dan said, "Best guilty pleasure food you eat every time." Guilty pleasure food.
I only eat guilty pleasure food.
I was about to say I don't.
Pleasure foods. You eat what you like.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't think I have a guilty pleasure food. I mean, I have foods that I feel guilty about eating after I eat them.
I feel guilty about everything I
not eating anything. I literally don't have any. I'll tell you though, this summer I got hooked on like, I don't even know what you call them, Cool Pops or whatever. The popsicles in the plastic thing. Instead of drinking water, I just go have a Cool Pop.
I don't think anything I eat is guilty pleasure. It's stuff I want to eat.
Well, that's it. And no, Dan, I don't have an air fryer. I don't really cook, so I don't need an air fryer. I have a microwave.
Lisa just said, "I don't think I have any guilty pleasures. I just, I eat whatever or whoever I want to eat." So it's like,
now people are gonna get bad ideas.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
I was thinking about things like a few months ago, or even like a few years ago, and it kind of reminds me of like a thing that McCartney said, where he said, "It's weird. I have all this money in the world, but I still feel like I cannot afford a Fender," and I feel the same way too about like certain foods. It's like like let's say for instance, I love pudding, and sure I'm like making good money right now, and I could go out to the store right now and buy pudding, but for some reason there's something in the back of my mind that I still feel like that poor young kid that cannot afford pudding. And it's like, and because I think like growing up, I thought about pudding as like something like like the kids in school, the cool kids that come from like really good money, parents have good money and stuff like that. The pudding was like like the rich kid dessert, and
I was a poor kid, so I couldn't afford a pudding or anything. And it's that kind of weird psyche that goes into your mind, you know.
Like, I think for me, I have something that's like kind of like that, Paulina. It's like the little packs of potato chips. Remember how they like? I mean, they still sound like that, but you'd buy the box of potato chips, and it would be like so you throw in your lunch. I remember I used to always want to get those boxes of potato chips in little bags, and my mom was like, yeah, get a regular freaking bag. We'll stick them in a freaking hefty bag. What? Or not a hefty bag. What do you call it? A sandwich bag. You don't need one of those goddamn. Why do you need those? And I'm like, I want the bag. I see other kids at school like pull out their little Cheeto bag. I want the little Cheeto bag. I'll buy a whole damn bag of these Cheeto puffs. Not even real Cheetos. I'm gonna stick them in a freaking sandwich baggie. You know, but we can't do that here. It's like in this house. It's like okay. I'll tell you the regimen here. Okay, when it comes to chips. My chips, because I'm very plain. I'm like, I like to have like plain chips. I guess what are they like? Ruffles type chips. Yeah. I can get a bag of my chips not fairly cheaply, but you can get a big bag of it, and not get Ruffles or not get Lay's, right? Now, the kid's mother, she does the same thing. She gets her barbecue chips that way. She'll buy a big bag of barbecue chips or her sour cream and onion. That's her thing. Those are her types of chips, right? My daughter, she cannot have any substitutes. She needs to have the exact brand. Like she has this exact brand of Cheetos. It's like, it's like it can't be any other kind of flaming hot Cheeto. It has to be the one that's the triple X, hot, Cheeto. That. It's like, yeah, it has to be that specific one, or no, she doesn't want it. Anything else, no. It can't be extra hot. It has to be extra hot, or she won't eat it.
No, I can't eat Flamin' Hot Cheetos anymore. Like
we went to Walmart, and Walmart has a lot of really good like store brands, and stuff. And we thought we were gonna fool her because she eats Cheez-Its like crazy, and we bought the store brand Cheez-Its, and they put them in these containers that they put on our shelf here in the kitchen, like plastic containers. So we don't have to keep them in the box. So she filled up the plastic container with these Cheez-Its and put them up there. And, my daughter went in there and got them and came right back out with them. She's like, oh, these aren't Cheez-Its. She knew, they don't taste right. These are not Cheez-Its, But like me, it's like, I can eat the Walmart brand. Like I'm really into like, Hostess cakes. Freaking kill me. I like the snowballs. I like the cupcakes, and they came out with snowballs and cupcakes at Walmart, which are Walmart brand, and they do not taste any different than Hostess. But when it comes to Twinkies, of course, kid's mom, she has to have Twinkies. She can't have anything else besides they have to be real Twinkies, but yeah. My daughter, no, she does not do any kind of store brands. And I thought that she would after she saw the whole... Shane Dawson did a whole episode about store brands.
Yeah.
And he was showing store brands alongside the name brand. And there was like no difference, in them. And they said in a lot of instances, they were basically coming out of the same vats. Like they were filling one box, with a name brand. And then they'd like turn around, switch to the other box. And they'd fill that up. And it was the same exact product. So it's like, crazy.
I've never had snowballs before, so.
Answer me, why do thrift stores sell Bill Cosby records? Because no one else wants to buy them anymore.
No, I threw one in the trash can.
They don't sell them because nobody buys them. They stock them.
Yeah.
They move on to somewhere else after nobody buys them.
Is there a super spicy brand of chips you have in the States? Yeah, that would end up being like, basically we get Flaming Hot. If you go ahead and you go to Netflix, you'll see the story of the guy who created the Flaming Hot brand.
Yeah. Then we have the one chip thing.
Oh yeah, but that's like, didn't somebody die from doing one of those challenges?
I think so.
I wonder if they probably had like a heart condition or something like that, but I wonder if they're putting like new warnings on there saying if you have a heart condition or some kind of high blood pressure or something like that, that not to eat that chip.
I don't eat Flamin' Hot Cheetos anymore because it really upsets my stomach. I used to eat them, and I just can't. I just can't do them anymore.
It gives Lisa the poo-poos.
I don't do hot, so
No, it's not that. It's just it gives me like I don't know, stomach pains.
I just don't like. I don't like
It's
my
weird.
tongue on fire. I don't find it comfortable.
And it makes me cough too. So I'm kind of like I don't do them anymore, but I used to eat them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like I like the flaming hot, the regular flaming hot, but this other stuff that she eats, that XXXL, no, I can't do that shit.
I mean regular,
The
regular.
XXX.
I'll
hot.
eat it sometime.
Uh huh.
But yeah.
Yeah, I just can't do those. I mean, they're just too hot. But
How can she handle them without smoke?
but I'm like really not into like regular Cheetos anymore like I used to. I'm like more of a cheese puff person now. You know, maybe because I'm getting older and my teeth aren't as strong as they used to be. Probably that thing. So
I'm the same way. I love cheese puffs, and I will say this: I could tell the difference between one that's made from Cheetos and one that's made from the store, because I bought store-bought cheese puffs before, and I was like, "This is bad. This no."
Yo, no.
I actually like Wise cheese puffs. They're a lot cheaper, and I actually like them. They're different. You can tell that they're not cheese puffs, but I like them. Maybe I just got used to them. I don't know.
I mean, I like the Aldi brand of the onion sour cream Pringles. They're pretty good. Clancy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've never tried like a generic Pringle, but I mean everything else. It's like when it comes to chips, I'm not fussy as long as it doesn't have a whole lot of burnt ones in there. I'm fine. So I hate when you get a bag of like those, those wavy, chips, and they're half of them are like burnt in there.
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate that.
I also like the kettle chips.
Some company does a Pringles knockoff that's pretty good, and then there are some that are awful. I forget what company does a pretty good one though.
I know that Lay's did a pretty good one there for.
Maybe it was. I was thinking maybe it was Lay's. I don't know, but I've had really awful ones too. I bought one time, and I swear it wasn't even a potato chip. I swear it was more like a corn chip, or I mean, it was crossed between a Dorito and a potato chip, and it was not good. I did not like the consistency.
The consistency sounds
flavor.
weird.
It didn't taste like a potato chip either. I was like, I don't like this at all. This is awful.
That sounds funky. It sounds funky.
No, this is awful.
And Lisa's off to go get some chips.
No, I'm off to cough a little.
Okay, I was about to come up here and I'll go up here and pick your nose.
Well, if you're keeping to your word, we've got 5 minutes left.
Yep, I am keeping to my word today. Keeping to my word today. Believe me, I would like.
Why are we pointing at Lisa?
I don't know.
Because sometimes when she goes down to the very corner, it looks like I'm picking her nose.
I feel kind of bad because I would want to keep the stream longer, but when I get sick, I'm like,
No, that's okay. I wouldn't mind going to bed before like.
I think I'm gonna from now on if I do my stream. If I do my streams, I think 12 is a good ending time for streams because I know Tim is later than all of us.
No, because last night I was trying to download a movie while we were on privately.
Yeah. That movie!
And I was up until 5:30. Finally, I got it to download.
That movie kept my attention. We should watch more of those kind of movies.
Yeah, I was actually grabbing some more of them. I was looking on, my sites that I go to.
Yeah.
And I was picking up some of them and stuff like that.
I wanted to show you something that goes back hours.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to be rude on the streams. I just turn it off when I have to cough. So that nobody can hear it, and
I think the majority of the cast of that movie is gone.
They're all dead. Yeah, most of them are dead now. Yeah, most definitely.
The only person that's still alive is the guy that saved the girl at the end.
Oh, okay.
This is one of my prized possession laser discs.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. Nice.
The Russ Meyer collection.
I like it. I like it a lot.
3 movies in
That's hella cool.
Sweet. Okay, the movie Vixen. Okay, I think I came across that one too.
Yeah, Vixen, Super Vixens, and Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens.
Sweet.
Super Vixen's pretty good. Vixen's good. Super Vixen's pretty good. Beyond the Valley of the Ultra Vixens is just odd. I mean, it's if you like certain aspects of certain women, then you might like it.
I was looking at some other movies too that were like exploitation films, but they were like, female exploitation films. Like there was one that I was going to download called The Big Bird Cage, which I remember seeing a little bit of it.
I
when
have
was
the Big
like,
Bird. I own the
You
Big
do?
Bird on DVD. Yeah.
And then I think this one just called The Big Cage or something like that. And then I was like, oh, there's a couple other ones here I need to get, like, Black Mama, White Mama.
We should
I
go
have
Like
back.
that.
I have most
So-
of Pam Grier's films. If Pam
Uh-huh.
Grier,
Yeah. We should
Yeah.
go back to doing like our Wednesday movies.
Mm-hmm.
I watched
Make 'em
this
for
very odd blaxploitation film yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
2 days ago. It was called the Black Brigade. It was a blaxploitation World War II film.
Really? You're like, what?
Made in the 70s. There was nothing World War II-ish about it. Everything looked 70s about this thing. But it had Billy D. Williams, Richard Pryor, Rosie Greer. I mean, this is a blaxploitation movie set in World War II. It was the oddest thing. I never
Like, get us
heard of
every
it.
black superstar at the moment.
Blaxploitation film.
Okay.
Pam
That's it.
Grier, Richard Pryor, O.J. Simpson. Everyone
Yeah,
was available
yeah,
at the time.
Okay,
No,
this,
just kidding.
it is getting to 12 o'clock now, and I probably should get a little rest.
Okay, Booger Nose. We'll see you later.
We'll see you. I love you. I love you all. And to everybody in the gallery, Dan, DJ, AZ Mick, Mason. I'm glad you figured out you could be Nick, Eddie, Gorilla, Dusty, everybody. And to people on the panel, Tim, Dusty, and Paulina. Shit. Now, I hope I'm not getting you sick too, man, from the screen, but there's my album show. Before we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before I go, I got a copy of Sound Magazine for $10 off of eBay. So I can show it on camera. Okay.
Yeah, but just
love-
make sure you do it before midnight, though. 'Cause
Okay.
Lisa turns into a pumpkin. Oh, we gotta go. She's gonna turn into a pumpkin. All right, you
Good
guys.
night. Look at he comes in at the last minute. Good night.
Thank you, Daddy.
Bye.